he instantly fused Inkwater magic with Frost Kai, summoning a colossal ice waterfall to strike. Ice and fire clashed violently, their opposing forces shaking heaven and earth. Seeing its flames grow stronger, Yun Shen grit his teeth and hissed, "Not done yet!" He poured all his energy, activating divine acceleration, merging thunder and frost magma to unleash a massive ice lightning blast. Though frozen tight, the beast still screamed blood feast over and over. Its body convulsed, erupting into crimson fire, stepping forth like an immortal. Yun Shen backed off, nearly burned, realizing the spot was deadly. He had to move. But before he could, it roared again, unleashing a sonic pull that dragged everything toward it. Feeling the insane suction, Yun Shen strained and shouted, "What kind of freakish pull is this?" With no other choice, he spread his wings, channeling fusion art, firing frost tear-piercing arrows straight at its head. Cracking sounds followed, its bones snapped, yet it still muttered delicious blood like a lunatic. Panting, Yun Shen laughed bitterly, still hungry. "With skin like iron, your blood must have clotted ages ago." A chill ran down his spine. He thought, even tenfold cycle would crumble before this thing, and soul drain couldn't reach from here. Seeing the monster's chains glow red-hot, he sensed doom and leapt off its head to survive. As he landed, the creature vomited out a massive ice block. He gawked, wondering what it was doing. Then it roared insanely, spewing magma denser than before, shaking the volcano to its core. The magma condensed, birthing countless new monsters. Yun Shen only watched coldly from the side. Suddenly, the monster's gaze changed in a gravelly tone. It groaned, "Waking me was the unluckiest thing you ever did." It sneered, saying whoever woke it was already marked for death. Yun Shen smirked back, "Oh, not hungry anymore. Don't tell me all that was just sleep talking." The demon roared furiously, cursing, "You think a weakling like you deserves to be devoured by me, the blazing flame demon lord?" Yun Shen felt a terrifying aura surge, realizing the monster had only been acting on instinct before. Now fully awake, it was a nightmare come true. The demon looked at its hand, voice hoarse, cursing the one who'd chained it for 700 years. Death would been kinder. It sighed in despair, begging to die by that person's hand, not by some mortal like Yun Shen. Then it launched a massive fireball. Yun Shen's heart clenched. Dodging late meant certain incineration. He threw all his strength to evade, but was blasted down, dazed to find the space around him had fused shut. Lava poured over him through the blazing veil. He saw the demon's furious, burning eyes. It growled darkly, "In the end, you're just a pitiful ant. Time to die." But suddenly, Yun Shen roared from the flames, "A free man like me, an ant? Then what does that make you, chained beast?" When he emerged, his form had completely changed, stunning the monster into disbelief. The demon rasped, shocked that someone so weak could unleash such power, but claimed his body wouldn't last a minute. Yun Shen smirked, "Against you, a minute's more than enough." The words enraged it. It howled insolent and spewed violent magma. It gathered energy, activating lava steel body, red fire engulfing the area to burn everything near Yun Shen. Watching the lava spread, Yun Shen quickly calculated at his current speed, he could still dodge. Reading his intent, the monster bellowed, "You want escape?" the sound booming like thunder. Instantly, it cast lava grasp, turning fire into countless giant hands clawing toward Yun Shen. His expression tightened, brows furrowed. He was clearly cornered. The demon sneered mockingly, "What now? Weren't you gonna kill me? Keep dodging, coward! Come closer!" Yun Shen paused, mind racing. If this kept up, the fight would end in brutal disaster. Luckily, with high fire resistance and tenfold cycle upgraded, he endured and triggered fusion arts, combining King's discipline with Warrior's enhancement for a full assault. Feeling the surge, the demon instantly recognized the weakening magic meant to debilitate. It snorted disdainfully, calling it a coward's trick, but didn't dare underestimate it. Yun Shen burst with divine lightning, knowing chanting would stall him, risked counterattack, but he grit his teeth and pushed through. His shadow clones fought off fiery hands while maintaining the barrier, roaring inwardly, "Not done yet, keep going!" The demon observed, silently judging that this stubborn brat couldn't possibly break its flame barrier. Yet it allowed the debuffs to stack, suspecting Yun Shen was secretly charging a finishing blow. Strangely, the more Yun Shen blood, the stronger he became, his aura rising until even the demon wavered. In truth, it activated the innate warrior master skill life exchange, gaining 3 power for every life point lost, pressure soaring sky high. The demon muttered that, without Huwa's permission, this man could never have entered. Something deeper was at play. As the battle raged, Yun Shen grew fiercer, fusing lancer and projection arts for a deadly throw. His spear gleamed silver, piercing the thick magma layer like paper. It struck the demon's chest, deadened, black blood erupting as its roar shook the mountain. The demon shrieked, "Insolent wretch, die!" and summoned a fiery barrier. A massive magma sphere formed, hurled at Yun Shen with catastrophic force. Without hesitation, he dove straight in, merging with the flames, then burst out seconds later, shattering it, leaving his foe utterly stunned. Yun Shen's face was cold as he unleashed flawless Gold God Strike, blitzing forward, the demon reeling in disbelief that its strongest attack was broken. He growled, "Stay still and take this," then poured everything into a dual rich combo, shouting, "Abyssal Frost Fist!" The punch shattered space itself. The demon spewed blood but sneered. That's it? You call that your strongest blow? Yun Shen smiled. I know. I just needed you to open your mouth. This gift's made just for you. Seizing that instant, he hurled a strange energy blast straight into the monster's maw. A weird metallic cracking echoed deep inside its body. The demon went berserk, roaring, "Damn you! What did you shove down my throat?" Yun Shen smirked. The thing you crave most, your own kind's flesh. Recognize that taste. He continued firmly, you think I didn't know. Those chains aren't mere restraints, but laws of imprisonment, and I've cracked the code. The demon thrashed madly, screaming, impossible! How did you find out? Yun Shen replied coolly, open your eyes. You and every spawn of your power all cry out hungry. Isn't that proof enough? He reasoned that though its mind slept, its body's hunger persisted. Starved 700 years, it devoured rock and dirt and madness. Yet strangely, it vomited all out even awake. It refused to eat him, not out of mercy, but fear. I saw in Shuwu's memories. Yun Shen said, he hated your Blazing Flame clan deeply, binding you with a cruel law, taste what you crave, and be punished. So, he added, I stuffed your mouth with molded demon flesh, your grand feast after 7 centuries of hunger. The demon's body decayed, screaming in despair, no, defeated by a worm like you? I refuse! Seconds later, it crumbled to ash, leaving behind a crimson crystal. Yun Shen sighed, even bound. You were that strong, truly a 7-titual archdemon. He mused that there had been a safer method, kite fighting, using tenfold cycle, an invincible form for months until it drained to death. But he shook his head. No time, I've got a showdown with the Dark Knight Overlord coming. Then he cast appraisal on the red crystal. The system displayed Heaven Fire Cord, Heart of the Blazing Flame Demon Lord, granting enhanced fire skills or total fire immunity. Yun Shen pocketed it, smiling. Fire immunity alone beats the Nether Flame's boost. Just one more scrayed material to go. Just then, a stranger appeared, clapping and laughing. Not bad. You've truly impressed me. He continued, I thought you stumbled in here by chance, yet you've surprised me. But before we chat, I've got a small matter to handle. He drew his sword, flicked it lightly toward Yun Shen, then turned away with unnerving grace. Yun Shen glanced down. No wound. Body oddly light. He asked, what did you just do to me? The man paused, replying flatly, nothing. I merely severed your link with something. If it saw me, things would get ugly. Yun Shen froze, realizing it must be the system. He tried calling it, but nothing. The man sat on a stone dais, his outline sharpening. If we're talking, the man said, let's do it face to face. Here's something familiar to you. So tell me, you're really not afraid of me. Yun Shen sat opposite, calm. I've seen your memories. You don't kill without reason. If you meant to kill me, you wouldn't have taken this long. Yun Shen narrowed his eyes and asked bluntly, isn't that right, Shuwu Demon Lord? The figure laughed and admitted, yes, that's me. You should be proud. My law states any demon entering Void City dies, yet you found the loophole. This place was meant to store sacred memories, he went on, and no one was meant to intrude. Fate must brought you here, blessing or curse, I can tell. Yun Shen mused. Shuwu Demon Lord ruled the shadows, commanding 72 subrealms, but only a god could alter such laws. As he pondered, Shuwu Demon Lord said coldly, don't mistake me for a god, prompting Yun Shen to ask who he really was, and why no one had seen his true face. The demon replied indifferently, because the gap between our existences is too vast. The weak can't perceive what they don't understand, but I can see through you and the souls within you. From your system, transmigrator status, every artifact, even that blank schematic, you're an open book to me. Hearing that, Yun Shen froze, uneasy as if stripped bare before the void. Yet Shuwu Demon Lord said softly, you're not qualified for answers unless you prove you're not the one lying in that coffin. Otherwise, this is just a dream. At the word coffin, Yun Shen's memory flashed. He recalled that familiar coffin in the mountains. Could that be where his life truly ended? Then the demon said calmly, you've slain the Blazing Flame Lord, freeing me from a bond. Take this calamity beyond stone as thanks. Now, bring out the blank schematic. I'll teach you to use it. Yun Shen obeyed, bowing with deep respect. Shuwu Demon Lord continued, it's a rare relic, but materials must be precise. 1 core material, 6 auxiliaries only, then a complete set forms. So the Calamity Beyond Stone will serve as the base. Feed all your chosen materials into it now. Yun Shen took out the Heaven Fire Core, Death Origin Stone, Dark Ginseng Heart, and Golden Marrow Crystal Dust, fusing them one by one. Instantly, the blank schematic circled him, glowing bright as energy stormed outward. His whole body transformed, donning the legendary 10,000 Calamities armor. Stats surged, attack and defense maxed, bearing unmatched annihilation and calamity effects. Yun Shen exclaimed with thrill, the Abyssal Eruption, signature of the Blazing Flame Lord. Now fused with calamity power, this is a true legendary set. He thought silently, with this 6-piece armor, the remaining 3 archdemons were no threat, though he wondered how far he still was from Meitan. He then turned to Shuwu Demon Lord, asking if he knew a place called Phantom Extermination Hunt, as his system quest still lacked clues. The demon replied lightly, you've seen it long ago, just never realized. Then he added, this volcano, this entire space, even we are inside its body, leaving Yun Shen stunned. He explained that, before the division of the 72 lords, the dark world had countless deadly zones, the most dangerous being abyss of phantom extinction. Only a few demon chieftains knew that abyss wasn't a pit, but the body of an ancient behemoth phantom devourer, asleep for 10,000 years. Yun Shen finally understood. No wonder the corpses there rotted away. The swamp labyrinth was its digestive organ, paralyzing prey with illusion mist before consuming them. Yun Shen pondered, without that method, how could it sleep for millennia without starving? The gap between the swamp and abyss must be its waste tract. Xiao Na's ancestors hid there and survived the war, only to be wiped out later. Shu Wu Demon Lord added that Void City had sealed all entrances for ages, so the place faded into myth, remembered only as the legend of the Purgatory Flame Demon. Yun Shen asked if Shu Wu truly exterminated the Blazing Flame clan, but the demon shook his head. He only imprisoned the chieftain. It was the Phantom Devourer that consumed them all. When the Flame Lord lived, the Devourer dared not strike, but after his seal, it swallowed the entire clan and has long since digested them. Shu Wu sighed, calling it the cruelest being alive. While Yun Shen grew alarmed, they had just fought inside its belly. Vengeance was inevitable. Gradually, Shu Wu faded away, leaving a message that if Yun Shen survived, they would someday stand on the same battlefield. Before vanishing, he smirked mysteriously, saying the last battle had awakened the beast, and now that he was gone, its time had come. Yun Shen gasped, "What do you mean?" as the ground quaked and rocks burst apart. From the depths, one colossal head rose, then two more, four blazing red eyes glaring straight at him. Yun Shen frowned, muttering, "Bad timing, my power hasn't recovered yet." Meanwhile, in the Forbidden Mountain range, demon workers hurried to relocate ancient coffins. One reported 31 high rank, 121 mid rank, and 545 low rank demons in total. Enough to conquer multiple territories, yet only 3 coffins opened this year, while Lord Exterminator broke his in one strike, proving the vast power gap. Suddenly, a subordinate shouted the coffin of Lord Kula was moving. She froze, wondering if something alive remained inside. Thudding echoed from within, the lid trembling violently. The demons panicked. Previous coffins held only legendary corpses. If one revived now, a nightmare might emerge. Kula closed her eyes, using life sense, but felt no aura, only a faint lurking menace. A minion asked if they should report to Lord Exterminator, but she replied coldly, "He's far too busy for mere coffins." She ordered them away, saying she'd handle it herself. The subordinates obeyed quickly and left. As they departed, they whispered that Kula admired Lord Exterminator and wanted to impress him, but she was leagues below his might. Kula told herself her gift was analysis. If she unraveled the coffin's mystery, Lord Exterminator would surely take notice. Meanwhile, in Dark Abyss City, the air grew thick. Countless demons gathered around the arena. On a raised platform stood 3 red-carpeted thrones under eerie ghost fire. Seated there were the rulers Kot, Bujo, and Lilisa, the supreme leaders of the realm. The demon crowd buzzed. They knew these 3 were the strongest lords of Dark Abyss Nation, and today's duel would decide the one true sovereign. Among the guards, one of Yun Shen's followers whispered nervously, fearing Lord Wu Ji might arrive late. If they lost, Kalos would wipe them all out. Baha calmly reassures them, voice deep, saying to trust their lord who never breaks promises. His gaze alone straightens the guards. Suddenly, mocking laughs rise. Some demons jeer that Lord Thilok's remote clan dares join the war, probably to die early. Yun Shen's guards glare, killing intent flooding out, scaring the mockers into trembling apologies. Baha raises a hand, sternly reminding them today is too important for petty fights. Then he smirks coldly, saying rumors are fine, the more, the better. His gaze sweeps the crowd, impressing them with Thiloki's might and gear. Amid the heat, a demon leaps up shouting that the Hyjam Na clan will end their disgrace today and restore glory under a new king. The herald steps forth, announcing that any lord may challenge, and whoever stands last becomes the new king of the Hyjia nation. The announcer raises his arm, booming that the grand battle begins, and invites the lords to the arena. Instantly, a figure soars up, aura blazing. He declares, "The new king shall be me." The crowd gasps, recognizing Dita, Lord of Lofer, a feared upper demon. Another dark figure lands, eyes icy, voice scornful, "Himph, Dita, don't think the throne comes easy." Dita laughs, battle spirit erupting. Their first clash shakes the arena, demonic energy forcing the weak to their knees. A demon stammers that without the reinforced floor, they'd all be dust from the shockwaves. From afar, Xiao Wu and Xiao Leng watch silently, disappointed. This is war. Our homeland's fallen so low. Xiao Leng sighs, disgusted by the useless king fighters. Suddenly, dreamy Xiao Jing snaps alert, eyes blazing, making Xiao Leng ask, "Hey kid, what's up?" Xiao Jing exclaims excitedly, Master's coming, yes, Hez here!" Xiao Wu startles, "What, Mr. Yen's coming?" Xiao Jing nods eagerly, "I can feel it very close." Xiao was both thrilled and confused, unsure why Mr. Yun came himself. Xiao Leng guesses he's just observing, since even now Yun Shen hasn't surpassed upper demon level. On stage, Dita smashes another foe to the ground, cracks webbing across the floor. Dita roars arrogantly, "You weaklings dare challenge me. Next one step up." The demons below gasp has defeated 6 lords in 15 minutes, rivaling the top 3. Lalisa sneers softly, fool, the ending's been written, fight all you want, it's useless. Bujo strides forward proudly, saying Dida's just their pawn, hyped to entertain the crowd. Lalisa gives him a wicked smile, saying Dida's just the opening act, the real show is their three-way clash, then glances at Kalos, hinting that Wu Jie hasn't even shown up. Kalos smirks coldly, if he dares come, I'll tear him apart. If not, I've prepared something fun in his place. Instantly, soldiers raise weapons, surrounding Yun Shen's guards, tension sharp as steel. Kalos rises coldly, saying before battle he has an extra reward, hinting that one domain has refused war tribute for years. His tone sharpens like blades, every demon must contribute. Rebels face clan punishment, he claims he saved the nation, yet that land dared cripple his envoy. Then Kalos points hard, growling, that traitor is Lord of Thilok Wu Ji. He roars, branding Wu Ji a dark demon renegade, and his loyalists as sinners to be purged. The crowd erupts, demanding punishment, though a few whisper that Thilok's folk at least live in peace, not daily slaughter. Kalos' face freezes, he crushes a magic orb, dark energy exploding like waves. Chains of demonic power instantly bind Baha and Yun Shen's guards inside a black aura. Kalos sneers, declaring he won't seek personal revenge, but leaves judgment to the future king. The demons roar together, urging the new king to destroy the traitor and raise Thilok Fortress. Xiao Wu sighs, eyes troubled, unable to grasp Kalos' hatred for Wu Ji, only wondering who gave that lord strength to stand against such pressure. Suddenly Xiao Jing shouts, eyes blazing, Hez here! Master's here! A surge of energy tears the sky, crashing into the arena, shaking the grandstands. Yun Shen appears in the storm's heart, voice like thunder, Kalos prepare to die, his gaze burns with battle lust. Xiao Wu and Xiao Leng freeze wide-eyed, that's Mr. Yun, shocked that the long-lost man now stands as a true lord. Dita roars from the ring, aura flaring, you're Wu Ji, daring to defy Lord Kalos before me. Yun Shen appears silently behind him, hand on his head, murmuring, you're not worthy, Dita. A crushing burst sends Dita flying into a stone wall, knocked out, a red palm mark blazing on his forehead. The arena freezes, a demon screams, impossible! That's Dita! Strongest below the top 3! All stare at Yun Shen in fear. Yun Shen points at Kalos, voice like ice. If you won't come down, I'll drag you down! Instantly, the ground's demonic seals surge, black chains shooting up to snare Kalos' legs. Before he can react, he's yanked down, smashing face first into cracked stone. Kalos roars, eyes bloodred, you damn brat! He summons a massive demon beast, shrieking, I'll tear you apart! Yun Shen leaps, stomps once, and the beast explodes into dispersing black mist. Kalos draws twin blades, yelling, you won't escape, and slashes the ground. Spikes of bone rise like a steel forest toward Yun Shen, but his demonic aura erupts, vaporizing them to ash. Kalos grits his teeth, eyes flickering fear, his bone spikes can't pierce that defense. Yun Shen's body is absurdly tough, he secretly thanks the trap still restrains him. Then under red light, thousands of demon beasts form from dark miasma, diving as Kalos grins confidently, certain none can survive this strike. Yun Shen raises a calm hand, two skills merge fireball magic with gale fist, birthing a raging firestorm. A massive pillar of fire erupts skyward, its heat scorching the space around the arena. Bone spikes shatter, beasts turn to ash. Kalos staggers back in horror, impossible? My ultimate strike broken so easily. He grits his teeth, readying the Demon King relic. But Yun Shen narrows his eyes, an unseen wave freezes Kalos completely, body locked in place. He trembles, gasping, what is this? My body won't obey! Could this be the Dark Lady's night pupil power? In a blink, Yun Shen appears before him, rips the relic away, and says coldly, you call this a Demon King relic, now it's mine. Kalos shakes violently, cold sweat streaming down his terrified face. Yun Shen activates appraisal, his gaze sweeps the staff, reading decaying mind effigy, a weapon that drains life with every strike, a deadly treasure. The demons below fall silent, whispering in disbelief, he stole the king's relic in seconds. Impossible! How can Lord Kalos fight now? Xiaoleng frowns darkly. That skill's night pupil synchrony, only pure dark energy wielders can use it. Xiao Wu raises a hand firmly. No, Mr. Yin still carries human essence. I can feel it, he must have fused dark power differently. Xiaoleng shakes her head. Impossible! Dark energy exists only in demon realms. Using it means surrendering one's soul to the lady. No humans ever crossed that line. Xiao Wu smiles confidently. You've never seen it. Mr. Yin once devoured the nether flame unharmed, then slew a level 60 triply evolved beast while under level 30. For him, nothing's impossible. Kalos now panics utterly, eyes bulging, roaring, impossible. How does he have the lady's night pupil? He must die no matter what! He spins toward his allies, snarling, Lalisa! Bujo! You'll let this traitor become the new king. Bujo answers coldly, eyes like knives. Indeed, that's the night pupil bloodline of Lady Nanyu, the rarest awakening, and has done it. In history, only 3 demon clans ever awakened the night pupil, and all became supreme rulers. The mere possession of it demands all kneel. Bujo warns grimly that luckily the crowd hasn't realized it. If they did, they'd crown him instantly. Clenching his fists, he growls, if he wins we lose everything. On your non want to strike together? Instantly, Buzhou and Lottie surge forward, demonic energy raging. Buzhou shouts, "Wuji, traitor who nearly doomed our nation!" Lottie adds coldly, "A turncoat like you isn't fit to vie for the throne." Yun Shen opens the night pupil, eyes blazing like sparks through darkness. In an instant, both Buzhou and Lottie freeze midair, bodies lock. But then Lattice relic ring glows, redirecting the night pupils bind onto 3 innocent demons below. They scream, "What's happening? We can't move!" Yun Shen narrows his eyes, realizing her relic can twist targeting energy annoyingly troublesome. Kalos roars, "It's not over yet! Raise your weapons!" Blood gushes as he swings his great crimson blade at Yun Shen, calling Buzhou to aid. Buzhou activates his relic, swelling Kalos blade into the heavenly demon blood saber, its red light sweeping the arena like thunder. Yun Shen frowns slightly, realizing the slash is too strong to dodge. He instantly unleashes Radiant Blaze Field, demonic power igniting around him. Lottie sneers, activating her redirect ring. "Little brother, stop struggling, taste your own skill!" The blazing field bends back, merging with the blood saber into a massive explosion swallowing the arena. The stage quakes, cracks splitting wide, smoke and fire covering the stands. The demons cheer, "Ha! 3 lords together! The traitors ash by now!" But when the smoke clears, Yun Shen still stands only scratched, breathing hard. Buzhou gapes, "Impossible! My heavenly demon codex doubled the power, how is he alive?" Yun Shen smirks calmly, "Nothing special, my stats are just higher." He thinks, lucky for that legendary armor set. His gaze sweeps the foes using tenfold wheel now might kill him, and though Xiao Wu and Xiao Leng are here, he won't rely on them. Xiao Wu frowns, worried 3 lords at once is dire. Yet if he's truly part demon, she hesitates to interfere. Xiao Jing jumps excitedly, "Master noticed us! He doesn't want me to step in!" Xiao Leng gasps, "He sensed me without hostility." Xiao Wu smiles, eyes bright, "As I thought, Mr. Yin's the same. We wait for his signal." Yun Shen clenches his fist, eyes locking on Lottie. Her redirect relic must go first. He casts Fireball spell, trajectory perfect toward her. Lottie smirks, triggering her relic, mocking, "Still daring to use magic before me, little brother." She flicks her hand, sending the fireball back. Instantly, he switches to continuous casting art, launching a barrage of blazing fireballs filling the sky. Lottie laughs loudly, activating her relic again, boasting she can redirect them all. The fireballs reverse, exploding violently around Yun Shen's spot. Xiao Wu gasps, "If the firepower is not overwhelming, Lottie can keep turning everything a direct win's impossible." Yet from the smoke, Yun Shen walks out unscathed. Lottie freezes, unable to believe he passed through the flames unharmed. Yun Shen then lunges, fist clenched, killing intent surging before her. He says coldly, "My fire resistance nullifies yours no matter your redirection. This fight's over." But Lottie smirks, eyes sharp as blades, asking if he's forgotten something. At that moment, Kalos and Buzhou strike from both sides, trapping him in a pincer. Both attack at once. Blood saber and crimson halberd fall, but Yun Shen locks both weapons with his bare hands. Lottie draws her demon sword, signaling her allies to form a steel-like defense wall. She taunts proudly, "Focusing on me was wise, but ignoring the others is your fatal mistake." Yun Shen stands calm at the center, eyes cold, mocking that they're too busy pressing him to notice what's behind them. Buzhou suddenly roars a warning, shouting for his comrades to move. Before the words end, a thunderous explosion rocks the arena. Lottie is slammed down by a shadowy figure, completely pinned. She screams in fury and terror, "He even has a clone ability!" Yun Shen leans down, voice cold, saying while she used her counter skill, the flames hit his move. He adds, "I hit a shadow wraith within my own shadow, its stealth let it strike you from behind." Lottie trembles, shocked that even a clone could overpower her, terrified of his true strength. Yun Shen straightens, aura oppressive, declaring that without her redirect power, none of the 3 can resist him. Buzhou inhales, smirks challengingly. Who wins or loses isn't decided yet. Thick black mist spreads across the arena, hiding sight as Buzhou and Kalos slip into darkness. Yun Shen chuckles coldly, mocking that such hiding tricks can't fool him. He activates fusion art, melding mage and engineer, sending sonic demon waves to clear the mist and track all movement. Yet Buzhou stays calm, changing tactics to rescue Lottie before it's too late. He launches Dark Knight, Titan strikes straight at the clone, roaring it away from battle. Yun Shen counterattacks, fusing martial and magic force into a cataclysmic blow. An icy burst shatters forth, the Titan strike crushed to dust with a cracking roar. Buzhou freezes, instinctively backing off, horrified that his reinforced mace was smashed apart. He stammers, "His power surpasses all demon lords, we were mad to fight him." Yun Shen says coldly, "Submit or die." Buzhou kneels, head bowed, knowing resistance means annihilation. Yun Shen then turns, gaze drilling into Kalos. Lottie, seething but resigned, also bows, admitting inwardly that one with the night pupil deserves to rule. The demons below erupt in disbelief, Lottie and Buzhou kneeling to a branded traitor. Kalos roars furiously, "No matter your strength, if a traitor rules, our realm will perish. I'll die before I kneel!" His soldiers shout in rage, calling Yun Shen unworthy of the throne. A captain yells that only Kalos protects the race, any who follow the traitor choose death. Xiao Leng notes the chanters are Kalos elite guards. Xiao Wu murmurs, "It's time I step in." Then two figures leap beside Yun Shen, cloaks falling. Xiao Wu declares, "And what if we too serve him?" The crowd gasps. It's Labella and Alabella, southern lords once thought enslaved. Xiao Wu laughs scornfully. Slaves. Ridiculous. Xiao Lang adds, "I only feigned surrender to infiltrate humans and avenge the lady, and now I've returned." Kalos points, shouting that they're human spies aiding the traitor to destroy the realm. The surrounding demons scream for blood, calling the two lords traitors as well. Yun Shen smirks, saying coldly, "Words aren't enough, let actions speak." Xiao Lang urges restraint, reminding they're still kin, but Xiao Wu smiles, saying there's a simpler way. Kalos raises his weapon, rallying troops to charge, claiming sacrifice for peace, chanting to slay the traitor and save the realm. The mob surges forward, yet Yun Shen stands unmoving, eyes icy, growling that they're unworthy to face him. He opens his eyes wide, fully unleashing the night pupil energy surges, seizing control of the entire battlefield. In an instant, the arena trembles as demons scream in terror. One shouts shakily that his body's frozen just like under the Dark Lady's power before. Another cries out, "That's the night pupil, the royal gift that halts all things, the Dark Lady's own legend." They recall that only 3 kings in history ever awakened it, proof absolute of kingship. Yun Shen speaks low, asking who still doubts him, though trembling from exhaustion, has absorbed all dark energy in the field. The demons awaken in fervor, shouting that the night pupil is the one true mark of a king. Instantly, they kneel, even Kalos' loyal guards bow silent. Kalos trembles, realizing the night pupil's range is vast yet brief. Why waste such power? Then, seeing Xiao Wu and Xiao Lang's knowing smiles, he understands they let all witness this to cement Yun Shen's rule. He turns to flee. Yun Shen frowns, instantly reactivating the night pupil to bind the traitor. Kalos freezes mid-motion, eyes rolling back, collapsing to the floor. Yun Shen speaks calmly, "Kalos men once imprisoned my guards, crime enough for death. But for this dying realm, I grant you a chance to atone." Lowering his hand, he adds evenly, "Kalos can no longer resist, do with him as you will." The guards blanch, pleading for mercy, declaring Kalos' defiance treason. They only wish to live. Kalos screams desperately for help, his cry echoing, then cuts off into dead silence. Yun Shen ascends the highest steps, gaze steady, sitting upon the stone throne, declaring himself king of the dark demons. Xiao Wu and Xiao Lang kneel before the throne, saluting in unison. "Hail the Dark Knight Monarch!" The entire arena kneels, chanting his title, the sound shaking the realm. From that moment, Yun Shen becomes the Dark Knight, monarchs the 72nd seat among the 72 demon clans. News spreads like wildfire, shocking the dark realm as demons whisper of the king risen from nothing. At the Council of 72 Pillars, the silence is broken by the deep voice of the devouring lord, noting all must have heard of the Dark Monarch. At once, protests erupt. Many claim his unworthy, merely a lucky usurper who beat a few lords. The first to stand is Pillar 21 Donya Maishaji, eyes sharp as blades. He proposes outright to erase the Dark Demon clan's name from the 72 and give the seat to a worthier race. The devouring lord remains calm, his voice deep as an abyss, admitting their weakness but affirming the clan's inner strength isn't spent. He stresses that in the war with humans, mid and lower-ranked demons bore the main force, and the dark demons still hold immense value if they keep providing resources. Pausing, he sweeps the chamber with his gaze, saying gravely that if the Void Demon and the First Lord were still here, they'd agree with this stance. His words unsettle the others, yet none dare argue since the First Lord vanished long ago, and the Void Demon hides. All power now lies with the devouring lord. He raises his voice, echoing through the hall, "Oppose my decision. Simple, take the power from me if you're strong enough." The air freezes, the council falls into utter silence. One outsider clenches his fist, muttering angrily, "Outrageous, a mere minor lord daring to stand beside Lord Mi Shiji." Mai Shiji lifts his cup, sips calmly, eyes cold, stating that the devouring lord's decision is absolute. The dark demons have long provided steady tribute. He pauses, voice dropping. "What troubles me is the true identity of the Dark Monarch, once the obscure Lord Wu Ji." He continues, "His rise was too sudden, appeared in Thalai, slew the old lord, seized power, and within a year became king, yet refused tribute and recruitment. Even the locals never heard the name Wu Ji before. Every clue about him reeks of mystery. A subordinate suggests he might be a hermit once dwelling among demon beasts, rare, but possible. Those forged by life and death grow immensely strong." Mai Shaji narrows his gaze, admitting it's plausible but offering a bolder theory. A year ago, 2 humans, Yun Shen and Liu Yuling, were transported here. At that time, he says, "I detected the Forbidden Ridge open due to its importance. I stopped pursuit and watched its changes. Now I recall the ridge borders the dark demon lands, and Thalai is the nearest city. You see my point." The subordinate stammers, "You mean the Dark Monarch is that human?" Yun Shen, "Impossible, his dark aura is far too strong for a man." Mai Shiji smirks icily, "Whether his human doesn't matter. As long as we have reason, we have cause to act. If he defies tribute again, his realm will be devoured." Meanwhile, in the Dark Demon capital, the air bursts with celebration. Baha and the guards cheer wildly, elated that their true lord is now king. Yunshen smiles regally, assuring them rewards will come. Their realm, once ruled by 3 lords, must now rebuild under its own people. He asks Baha, do you agree? Baha nods firmly, pledging to place their loyal men in key posts within a month to secure control of the capital. Yunshen waves his hand, voice deep and commanding. Good. It's yours, go. Baha bows low, replying, as you command. Then Yunshen approaches the 2 demonesses, eyes questioning, asking why they appeared suddenly. Was it on Master Xiao's orders? Xiao Wu nods gently, clear-voiced, admitting they came to the Dark Realm with 2 missions. First, to find you and Lo Yu Ling and help you return. Second, to awaken the trump card our master left here. Yunshen frowns, curious, what is this trump card? Xiao Wu hesitates, glancing at Xiao Lang, saying they must first seek their master's permission before revealing it. Yunshen presses, skeptical. How can you contact Master Xiao when this realm's sealed by spatial barriers? Xiao Wu smiles mysteriously, by mortal power? No, but by divine power. Yes. She draws out a radiant mirror, explaining it's the illusory star reflecting lens, a divinigrade artifact that enables communication across any spatial divide. A flash of light reveals Xia Kuncheng's reflection in the mirror, her soft yet commanding voice asking why they seek her. Xiao Wu cheerfully reports they've met Yun Xiancheng again, now one of the 72 demon lords. Yunshen bows slightly with a smile. Long time no see, Xia La Shi. Xia Kuncheng widens her eyes, amazed. One of the 72 demon lords. Impressive? Tell me the details. After listening, she rubs her chin, eyes gleaming, praising his feat of defeating 3 lords, regretting not being there to reward him personally. Yunshen smiles humbly, saying she's already done plenty, then grows serious, asking about the human world's frontline. Xia Kuncheng replies gravely, the situation is dire. That's why she sent Xiao Wu and Xiao Lang to fetch them, but now it may be better for him to stay in the Dark Realm. Yunshen, surprised, asks her meaning. Xia Kuncheng meets his gaze, saying the best way to ease the front's pressure is to make demon clans fight each other, then asks about his current strength. Yunshen confidently says he may not rival a demon sovereign yet, but can defeat anyone below that rank and is armed with the legendary Holy Robe. Xiao Wu and Xiao Lang gasp, he just claimed he could beat anyone below a demon sovereign, forgetting their mistress is one! Xia Kuncheng laughs in amusement, praises his spirit, then grows stern, ordering the 2 succubi to take him to a place where Shiz prepared a special test. The 2 succubi lead the way. Xiao Wu half jokes that Yun Xiancheng's in for trouble, while Xiao Lang adds a sympathetic sigh for his fate. Yunshen sighs helplessly, wondering if Xia Lashi plans to fight him herself, though only 3rd tier, has unsure he'd win if she truly went all out. Xiao Lang chuckles awkwardly, hinting maybe not. Xiao Wu suddenly remembers, asking where Yun Xiancheng has been all this time. They've searched endlessly. Yunshen pauses, then quietly replies, skipping void and system secrets, had wandered the endless wastes alone, training and treasure hunting between life and death. During that journey, he was nearly devoured by dark laws while merging demonic power, then discarded by the void like a spent pawn. At that time, his body was so drained he could barely fend off the monsters pouring in, but thanks to his now greater power, he held on. Using reckless tactics, he exploited terrain and supplies, luring the horde into one spot, then unleashed a 6th-tier skill to obliterate them. Before new monsters arrived, he dashed for the Void City's exit, escaping death by a hair's breadth 1 second slower, and had be gone. When the group stopped before an ancient door covered in demonic sigils, Xiao Wu smiled brightly, announcing they'd arrived. Yunshen looked up, studying the dense seals. This magic array was far too complex for him to break. He wondered who could made it. Xiao Wu raised her hand, casting a spell of shimmering light, explaining this was a barrier set by their mistress. Beyond it lay the treasure vault of the Dark Night Goddess. Yunshen froze in disbelief that the vault still existed after so many wars. Xiao Lang explained it survived thanks to their mistress' hidden formation. She added that the door only opens inward, and the mistress test lies within. When it split apart, a figure identical to Xia Kuncheng appeared amid the ruins. Yunshen pushed the door open and stepped in. At that instant, the woman's eyes snapped open, a steel-cold glare flashing. In a blink, she swung her sword so fast the air tore, her icy voice ringing out, "Intruder, die." Xiao Wu cried out in panic, begging her mistress to stop, explaining that Yun Xiancheng was her disciple. After returning to the human world, he mustn't be killed. Yunshen stood frozen as the cold blade grazed his neck, sweat running down his spine, his reaction slower than her lightning strike. Xia Kuncheng calmly sheathed her sword, her tone glacial. "A disciple. Do I look that idle? Labella Alabella, you two know the price of deceiving me." Xiao Wu stammered, insisting they'd never dare trick their mistress. They still want to live. Xiao Lang chuckled, reminding that 4 years had passed since she was stationed here, and their current names were given by the true body after returning to the human realm. Xiao Wu then produced the illusory star mirror, gaze firm, saying if the mistress still doubted them, she should at least trust herself, then recalled how they'd only just formed the soul pact back then, not yet fully trusted. Xia Kuncheng within the mirror spoke serenely yet with authority, confirming Yun Shen was indeed her disciple, her favorite one, and that Xiao Wu and Xiao Lang were trustworthy. The outer Xia Kuncheng tilted her head, still doubtful, saying that even if she believed the true self, she found it odd she'd never been fond of taking disciples. The mirror Xia Kuncheng replied calmly that she once thought the same but had her reasons, telling her counterpart not to ask further for now, just test the boy's strength, hard enough but don't cripple him. Yun Shen, silent till now, finally spoke in puzzlement. Why was Xia Lashi in the Dark Night Goddess vault? Wasn't she in the human world? Could this be just a clone, and could a clone survive 4 years? Xia Kuncheng nodded slightly, eyes glinting with praise, admiring his calm logic and sharp deduction. No wonder her true self called him a favorite student. Xiao Wu confirmed that the one before them was indeed a clone of their mistress, created through a divinity or artifact that preserved all her power from 4 years ago. She added that after defeating the Dark Night Goddess, the mistress discovered this vault held all her relics and treasures, but the seal's unique magic made it unopenable. Hence, the mistress left the clone to guard it and built protective arrays, while her true self continued warring across the realms. Later, when gravely wounded and forced to retreat to the human world, that clone was forgotten here, accidentally becoming a hidden trump card. Xia Kuncheng glanced toward the rear door, her tone low. It couldn't be opened by force, only by meeting special conditions, else the treasure within would be destroyed. Yun Shen sighed in awe, marveling that a divine artifact could preserve power for 4 years, mentally noting even his shadow wraith couldn't match that. Xia Kuncheng corrected him, saying the clone still had limits, then ended the talk, signaling it was time to begin the strength test. Yun Shen drew the demonic formation breaker, eyes blazing with battle light and fighting spirit surging. He smiled excitedly, saying, "Good, let's see how strong Xia Lashi was 4 years ago." Xia chuckled, interest gleaming in her eyes. After 4 dull years, things might finally change, and softly reminded, "It's just a test." She then stated the rule: if he forced her to draw her sword, he'd win. As she spoke, her appraisal appeared level 90, all stats and skills hidden. Yun Shen frowned. A swordmaster not using a sword. Even if she was his teacher, it still felt insulting. He activated Phantom Step, the swordsman's basic skill, sending an illusory clone charging straight at her. Xia calmly retreated with a faint smile, mocking that he rushed in without understanding her tricks. Seems her true self's teaching was a bit hasty. Suddenly, vines erupted from the ground, binding her. It was a druid's skill, surprising her since he wielded a sword, not a staff. Yun Shen's eyes flared as he swung his blade, retorting, "Looks like the one missing her opponent's trick is you." Instantly, the vines froze and shattered as she swayed aside like wind, escaping the slash in a blink. Yun Shen gaped. She broke the trap, and the effect was identical to an ice step skill. Xia brushed off her pants, eyes sharp, noting he hadn't even classed up yet could use cross-type skills, rare indeed. She laughed, intrigued, saying his abilities far surpassed beginner level. He must have some special talent, so ordinary tactics wouldn't work. Then ice crystals formed beneath her feet, cold spreading wide. Xia leapt forth like a blizzard, no longer treating him as the weaker one. In Yun Shen's eyes, only countless afterimages remained. Her speed made her almost untrackable. Predicting her strike, he spun and slashed, but his blade met only chilling air. Her voice came from behind, light yet cutting. "Too bad you guessed wrong." In a flash, Yun Shen triggered Divine Flash, dodging the killing blow. Sweat streamed as her speed terrified him. Xia tilted her head, eyes gleaming. Spatial skill. Interesting, I want to see more. She bent her knees, vanished, and reappeared behind him, murmuring, "Pity it's still not fun enough." Suddenly, ice mist exploded underfoot, the shockwave blasting Yun Shen backward. He gritted his teeth, staggering up, blood at his lips. Shed caught up to even his Divine Flash, using sheer speed. Then Xia appeared above him, calm voice descending, "We're not done yet." She kicked down hard, slamming him headfirst into the ground as debris scattered. Stepping closer, she eyed him in the rubble, tone curious. "Impressive endurance. Is it thanks to that armor, or did my true self gift you too soon?" Yun Shen rose with pride, replying that the greatest reward was training itself, and that armor was something he earned himself. Ice began forming over his arm. It was the snow dance set, skill of the Frost Maiden dancer. Each step left freezing mist that immobilized all it touched. Realizing it, he froze in shock. All her movements had been to set up a frost zone, trapping him inside. But why would a snowblade swordsman use a frost dancer's skill? Suddenly, Xia Kuncheng softly said, "The match ends here." At once, vines burst from the ground again, twisting like a whirlwind, a fusion of 2 elemental types. They coiled around Yun Shen, dragging him down as if to devour every ounce of resistance. She touched one of the massive tentacles he'd summoned, smiling in delight, using the vines themselves to pull her body clear. "Smart move," she mused. Then she laughed teasingly. "Oh, even hellfire to melt the ice. Did my true self spoil you with the nether flame too?" Standing firm atop his tentacle, Yun Shen calculated swiftly. If he couldn't match her speed, he'd expand his attack range, combining mage and Q-monk skills to corner her. Two energy streams intertwined, forming a new hybrid spell blazing lotus, shell merging with thunderfall feathers exploding in dazzling light. Hisha countered by condensing ice into piercing spikes, her tone calm. Very well, I'll play along. Fire bullets and ice lances collided, thick smoke erupting and cloaking the battlefield. Yun Shen frowned. His fusion skills had all been neutralized. Strange, how could an Icewind swordswoman fire long-range ice projectiles? Before he could ponder further, Xia burst through the smoke, voice cold as frost. Distance only makes you an easier target. Yun Shen smirked confidently. Who's the prey here? We'll see. Just then, the shadow wraith emerged from the darkness, lunging at her. Xia blinked in surprise. He'd used himself as bait. She vaulted upward, stepping off the wraith's arm to evade, landing featherlight almost caught by his trap. Yun Shen twisted his sword, praising her reflexes before striking again. The wraith was only bait. The real hit was a demonic flame slash fused with fireball art. Yet his blade suddenly froze midair, the tip encased in glittering ice. She smiled faintly, curling a finger, murmuring approval. A beautiful move. Then she dashed in, voice crisp. Now it's my turn to get serious. Her punch landed. Heavy blood surged in his throat, her speed far beyond human sight. The impact hurled him into the wall, stone and dust exploding outward. Cold spread through his body, ice threatening to lock him solid. Gritting his teeth, he resolved to break his limits. Instantly, he triggered the married wheel state. Ice shattered, his aura roaring skyward. Xia gave him no chance to recover. She was in front of him again in a blink. The next strike crashed and he could barely react as his body was flung and battered. Outside, Xiao Wu gawked. The vault chamber was collapsing. Xiaolang sighed. Looks like mistress is truly serious now. Blood dripped, staining Xiaolash's fist red. The air froze in tense silence. Though his body screamed in pain, Yun Shen inwardly admired her speed, terrifying but at least in married wheel form, he could now glimpse her movements. Xia nodded slightly, praising, level 60 and already this strong, not bad at all. She continued, admitting her true self had judged well, but if he wished to pass, he'd have to push much harder. Yun Shen suddenly gripped her arm, voice low, then let's turn up the heat, unleashing a fusion of mage and demonic swordsman power. Mystic City Hellflame roaring alive. Xia was forced back, strange fire clinging to her hand as she whispered, mutual destruction, bold move indeed. But moments later, she noticed something strange. His body bore no burns at all. Yun Shen smirked, tapping his staff to the ground. So that's it, my fire resistance is stronger than you thought. Thanks for the compliment. Instantly, he activated another fusion skill. Druid and mage vines surged upward, wrapping tighter as the room filled, shrinking her movement space. Xia slid gracefully between them, dodging while praising, using terrain complexity to mask your speed. Interesting tactic. She darted into counter, but before she could shift momentum, had already cornered her. Yun Shen quickly summoned twin flame puppets, smiling. Now with these two, how will you handle it? Hisha raised an ice shield, her tone calm. That trick I've seen enough times. Sure enough, the puppets' fireballs were stopped midair by her frozen barrier. She retaliated instantly, blasting both puppets apart in one move. They crashed into the vines below, shaking the entire floor. Yun Shen immediately vanished with divine flash. Xia pursued, stepping into his last position, but a beeping alarm sounded, a trap triggered. She flipped aside just as an explosion roared behind her. Landing lightly, she heard more beeping beneath her feet. Layered traps everywhere. Scanning fast, Xia realized every inch was rigged. This brat was making her cautious for once. Meanwhile, Yun Shen unleashed a new fusion rapid fireball plus mechanist, creating a chain of fiery bombs. Explosions thundered through the chamber, fire and smoke swirling amid the heat. Crystalline ice wings unfurled from Xia's back. She laughed, delighted, to balance and amplify all those skills together. Impressive talent indeed. Closing her eyes briefly, she smiled. If you were my level, I'd hardly want to face you. My true self chose well. Yun Shen's staff glowed as magic spiraled into a massive gale. He cast the fusion of Wind Dancer and Mage Freedom Tempest. Xia flinched at the pressure, realizing danger, and tried to retreat. But Yun Shen struck first, activating False Eye Seal. Binding her in place, she gasped, the Dark Knight Goddess spell. You have that too? He replied coolly, it'll only hold you briefly but enough for me to finish the array. Then, shouting, Heavenly Ween Dominance, Xia laughed brightly, eyes gleaming. So the fire traps and flame clones were just to boost airflow. Perfect synergy, enough to immobilize even me. Not bad. Then she drew her sword. Arching a brow, she said, I am still your teacher. If I can't break this, how shameful would that be? Yun Shen froze. Light flashed, and his entire attack was dispelled with a single sword stroke. Xia calmly sheathed her blade, smiling, congratulations, you've passed the test. As for your reward, she pointed to a nearby door. The entire vault of the Dark Knight Goddess now belongs to you. Yun Shen deactivated Myriad Wheel, eyes narrowing in doubt. The Dark Knight Goddess lifetime hoard, even you could open it before. Could you, Xiaolashi? Xia placed her hand on the door, tone serene. I told you it only opens when special conditions are met. Forcing it will destroy everything inside. She explained that within was a web of circulating magic power, thousands of intertwined conduits flowing in constant motion. To open it, you must sever the energy rhythm precisely at the safe node while keeping the volatile current stable. One mistake triggers self-destruction, she said. I once tried freezing it with ice, but even that wasn't fast enough. Yun Shen nodded slowly, realizing the special condition was the false ice seal. Since the vault was crafted by the Dark Night goddess, only that skill could open it. Ixia Kuncheng raised her hand to cast, tone firm, I've mapped the mana flow. Follow my command, stop at my signal, and the gate will open. Yun Shen focused and synchronized. After several rhythmic pulses, the door glowed and creaked open. Golden light flooded out, revealing a treasure so vast Yun Shen froze. It was truly the lifetime wealth of the 70 demon lords, beyond belief. Mountains of artifacts, rare materials, magical items, and war gear filled the chamber, an arsenal rivaling a super empire's treasury at its peak. Xia Lashi glanced sharply at him. All this is yours now, what will you do? Bring it to humanity, or keep it? Yun Shen frowned, noting most were demonic in nature. Converting them for humans would take time they didn't have. His brow tightened, voice low. The only way is to spark a demon civil war. Xia arched a brow. And are you strong enough for that? He replied calmly. I can boost lower and mid-tiers, but for the upper ranks, I'll need your help. Xiao Wu and Xiao Lang exchanged uneasy looks. The mistress clone could only exist 3 days outside the vault, and her true self was occupied elsewhere, so aid was impossible. Yun Shen paused, eyes reflecting realization, so that was the weakness. Still, the divine artifact creating such a clone left him awestruck. He thought to himself, Shisha Lashi was absurdly wealthy from the demon sovereign's essence, the dwarf god's condensate, netherflame, illusory star mirror. To the clone forging relic, her riches seemed endless. Even Headmaster Ye fourth turn would bow in envy. Silence fell as Yun Shen pondered. The strangest part was Xia Lashi herself. Only third turn, yet her strength and relics defied reason. Even with his system, he couldn't match her. He looked straight at her, voice heavy with doubt. I've worked tirelessly, yet am still weak before a demon sovereign. You're only third turn too. How did you defeat all 72 lords and wield long-range spells as a melee swordswoman? What's your secret? Xia Lashi smiled, eyes deep and unfathomable. So she didn't tell you. Rank and class aren't everything otherwise. Why would she choose a disciple unable to class advance? Some things defy logic. She paused, tone lowering. You know, the gap between second and third turn lies in skill potency. But at fourth turn, it's not just strength, it's the ability to touch something called the power of origin. Yun Shen listened intently, eyes gleaming at the strange phrase, power of origin. What is that? Xia stroked her chin, explaining calmly. If I call it an origin skill, you won't grasp it, but think of it as a god-tier ability, and you'll get the idea. She continued slowly, gaze distant. For most, the origin skill marks the limit, but for true masters, it's only the beginning. That power is the essence of creation itself, the force gods used to forge the world. It can manifest as fire, water, thunder, or life itself. Ordinary skills mimic phenomena. Origin touches reality's core. Upon reaching fourth turn, everyone awakens their own origin skill. Even a trace of the power of origin surpasses all normal arts, and it becomes the springboard to break class limits and shape power at will. She snapped her fingers, summoning a spinning crystal ice bullet midair. This is my origin of frost. Looks like a basic spell, but its nature is entirely different. The bullet shot forth, struck stone, and exploded violently, shards raining like a storm. Yun Shen stood stunned, eyes wide. No wonder she countered his fusion skills. This was true origin power. Xia Lashi spoke calmly, her tone light yet resonant. The power of origin is divine energy. Those who wield it are god-tier beings, though their strength varies by the type and mastery of their origin. That's why normal fourth-turn class users or demon sovereigns can only use origin skills without grasping the essence inside. But the 72 demon lords were different. They truly controlled fragments of that power. The deeper the mastery, the higher their rank. Yun Shen nodded, eyes gleaming. So Xia Lashi had touched the power of origin itself, a feat even demon sovereigns rarely achieved. Yet one question burned: if she wasn't fourth turn, where did that strength come from? Xia smiled slyly, stroking her chin. Even without fourth turn, one can touch origin power through relics, rare materials, or top-tier equipment. Sadly, my true body didn't bring any, and nothing here suits you as a gift. Yun Shen frowned, a spark of realization flashing. Equipment imbued with origin power. Perhaps he already owned such an item without knowing it. He returned to his chamber, pulling out a massive violet mana crystal, smiling. Excellent. I have a new mission for you. Baha gawked at the spatial crystal overflowing with gold, treasures, and rare resources, stammering. By the abyss, did you bring an entire national treasury here? Yun Shen replied evenly. I left half the treasury for normal operations. This portion is my private reserve. And there's no need to mention what came from the Dark Night Goddess Vault. Baha shouted excitedly. With this, we can build a fortress rivaling the Demon Sovereign's citadel! Yun Shen issued his command, voice deep with authority. Simple task: turn my mobile palace into a war fortress. Can you do it? In his mind, the 72 Demon Lords system mission reward glimmered, but it wasn't enough. The demons answered as one, eyes blazing. "Rest assured, my lord, we'll give everything we have. With such rare materials, this is a once-in-a-millennium chance." Their vow echoed like a blood oath. Yun Shen narrowed his eyes in satisfaction, smiling good. "I'll be expecting great results." Xiao Wu stepped forward softly. "Yun Shansheng, the guards are in position around the crafting zone. Any intruder will be dealt with." Yun Shen nodded calmly. "Excellent. I trust them, but vigilance is vital." Xiao Wu blushed faintly, lowering her head. Actually, I've been wondering bringing me to this secluded forest. Did you perhaps?" Yun Shen chuckled, eyes glinting mischievously. "No wonder your Xia lashes made sharp as ever. You guessed my intention exactly." Xiao Wu turned crimson, sputtering. "In a lonely forest, no one around, a man and a woman. Don't tell me it's that. Heavens, you look serious but like risky games." Yun Shen sighed, rubbing his temples. "I take that back." He stopped walking, face turning serious. "All right, we stop here." Raising his hand, he conjured a blazing fireball in his palm. Memories flashed the battle with the fiery demon lord. Even with his immense fire resistance, had never dared let that flame touch him. Only after activating his invincibility did Yun Shen dare face that move wrong me, the flame of annihilation. A deafening explosion erupted, crimson firestorms devouring the heavens. When the smoke cleared, half the mountain was gone, leaving a charred wasteland. Xiao Wu wiped her sweat, trembling. This power was terrifying. Even the demon lord wouldn't face it, likely infused with primal fire essence. Yun Shen pondered, recalling teacher Xia's words. If true, the blazing flame demon lord, once topped in, must have wielded primal power. Even fallen, Rongmi remained his trump card. He told Xiao Wu firmly, "I'll burn all my demonic power for flame mastery once I'm drained. You two take over." Xiao Wu and Xiao Ling answered, "Understood." Yun Shen compared his flame to the primal one, testing again and again to trace the spark of true power. 3 days passed. Fireballs upon fireballs turned the forest into a blazing sea. When his demonic energy ran dry, he reverted to human form, drenched in sweat. "Wrong, completely off. My flame isn't even close to Wrong my." Clenching his fists, he rasped, "By logic, my nether demon flame is grade S, far above common fire, so why is his might greater? Where's the answer?" Xiao Wu stepped up, apologetic. "Sorry, Mr. Yun, I can't help. Primal essence is beyond me. Please drink some water." Yun Shen smiled faintly. "No blame. Mastering primal power is harder than I thought. We must prepare for a long war." Then he asked, "How's the battle fortress?" She replied softly, "Such a massive build needs at least a year." She suddenly added, "Oh right, the 72 Demon Lords Conference is in 2 days. As the Dark King, you must attend. I'll have Xiao Ling ready." Yun Shen sipped, thoughtful. The conference met every 2 months, transmissionally. No need to attend. He shook his head. "I won't go. They just discuss lines and logistics. I've cut resources anyway. Talking to them's a waste." Continue. Meanwhile, at the Henglin organization, Lucy beamed. Xiao Lingzi, promoting you to preceptor was wise. You've gathered triple turn materials in a year. Splendid. What reward do you want?" Then Leju knelt before Lucy, voice respectful but eyes scheming, requesting to accompany her on a trip. Unexpectedly, Lucy giggled, confident and carefree, thinking it just another casual invitation. She turned away, voice bright. "Well, meet again after my 3rd class change. Be ready." Leju bowed low, polite but cold. "That meeting will be unforgettable." Just then, in the silent forest, a colossal pillar of fire burst skyward, shattering the calm. There stood Yun Shen amid the inferno, drenched and spent, unable to touch Wrong Mai's power, despair flooding his heart. Then Xiao Wu softly suggested his demonic flame, though change was still a faint shadow of true origin power. Yun Shen froze, eyes brightening. He'd been forging blindly, missing the essence. He raised his hand, forming a blazing fireball. Its glow reflected his resolve to touch truth itself. The giant fireball roared. He thrust his hand into its heart, seeking the source of strength. In a flash, searing pain spread through his arm. Fire immunity meant nothing before Wrong Mai. Unyielding, Yun Shen roared and plunged his whole body into the inferno, forcing himself to feel its core. The heat burned his flesh, breath faltered, yet he refused to retreat. Seeing that, Xiao Wu screamed in panic. No master would dare face such primal might directly. Inside the blaze, explosions rumbled. Yun Shen trembled, body quaking like ash in the wind. Just before collapsing, he roared, bursting from the flames, black smoke billowing, clothes scorched to rags. Xiao Wu rushed over, voice trembling, eyes wide at his staggering form. Yun Shen stomped the ground, stood shakily, panting but smiling. He'd felt it, and summoned another fireball. He frowned, commanding more energy, demanding the fire to grow fiercer, wilder, stronger. Amid the swirling blaze, a tiny spark flickered, gleaming as if hiding a secret truth. Xiao Wu gasped. The spark radiated deathly aura, like the seed of a new origin skill. At last, Yun Shen collapsed, exhausted yet smiling. He'd reached his limit on the first trial. He fainted into Xiao Wu's arms, breath fading but still smiling. He'd taken his first true step. Xiao Wu gently held him, whispering she'd keep him safe and he should rest easy. Meanwhile, in the Black Knight Empress Vault, teacher Xia stood before a mirror, solemnly assigning her clone a final mission to complete it at any cost. The clone calmly replied that death was trivial, but the task must be delayed half a year. Yun Shen still needed her aid. Hearing that, Xia Qingcheng frowned, curious why Shed ever wanted to take a disciple. Teacher Xia fell silent, eyes heavy, hiding an unspeakable secret. Finally, she whispered, voice trembling, they're still alive. At once, tears streamed down Xia Qingcheng's face. She shook, unable to believe it. Is that true? Tears flowed endlessly, her heart surged with joy and unbearable pain. Yet she murmured distantly, even if they lived, she would have to kill them herself. She sighed, realizing that even at fourth transformation, she couldn't do it alone. Then she clenched her fists, eyes blazing. If they were her foes, she'd prepare for the coming battle. Meanwhile, deep in the forest, Yunshen lay motionless on a massive ice block, breath faint. Xiao Wu tended him carefully, anxious. The burns were severe, though his strange fire resistance kept him alive. She murmured, holding a shard of ice. Thankfully the vault held top-tier healing salves and Canlian jade ice, so he'd recover soon. Upon waking, Yunshen smiled warily, almost burned to death by his own skill, a laughing moment. He sat up, summoned a vivid fireball, eyes bright, asking Xiao Wu how the new skill looked. Xiao Wu gawked. Its power far exceeded normal fourth-tier skills, though still below origin level. Yunshen nodded confidently, sure that once refined, it could rival or surpass origin force. Xiao Wu tilted her head curiously. Yunshen replied gravely there was no path, but tempering himself in flame. He added only when his fire matched Rong Mei and was endlessly honed could he reach true origin. Xiao Wu wiped sweat, worried, reminding him he'd nearly died, urging him not to risk again. Yunshen smiled warmly. The deeper I grasp the flame, the less it'll hurt me. Xiao Wu sighed helplessly, deciding to stock more burn medicine. He'd never stop anyway. 6 months later, at the 72 Demon Lords Conference, fury blazed like a furnace, all raging at the Dark Knight Monarch's insolence. Someone roared that had skipped 3 meetings and refused war tributes, clear provocation, and demanded the Devourer Lord exterminate his clan. The Devourer Lord arched a brow, voice low and mocking, asking who among them dared act. Instantly, silence fell. No Demon Lord uttered a word. The Devourer Lord sneered, mocking them as cowards greedy for gain yet fearing loss. Then, the Nether Shadow Lord snorted, arguing each clan had sent armies to the front. If allowed to pull them back, crushing Dark Knight would be easy. But the Devourer Lord sternly refused front lines, held the advantage withdrawal would hand humans a chance to recover. Just then, Duan Yishaji interjected coldly, warning that sparing Dark Knight would inspire copycats, letting humans profit. The Devourer Lord frowned, voice dark, demanding what exactly she implied. Duan Yi, Shaji smirked, recalling that Yun Shen and Le Jiuling once passed through the Gate of Reversal, and her soul mark had reacted when they entered this world. She threw a thick dossier onto the table, asserting the Dark Knight Monarch's emergence perfectly matched Yun Shen's trace. The hall erupted, many demon lords horrified, refusing to believe the Dark Knight Monarch could be human, a blasphemy to divine law. Duan Yishaji replied coolly, smiling slyly, if he offered the gods a grand enough sacrifice, any law could bend. The Devourer Lord lowered his tone, doubtful, but admitting it possible, then asked her plan, if she truly believed it. Duan Yishaji spread her arms, boldly proposing a united demon coalition led by the Dark Knight clan, pledging to bear the main force to slay the traitor. The Nether Shadow Lord cut in coldly, reminding her that in 6 months she and he must rotate at the front, no time to command any alliance. Duan Yishaji smiled calmly, saying she remembered and wouldn't fight personally. Her demon lords could handle that weak Dark Knight Monarch. The Devourer Lord laughed coldly, eyes sharp as blades. Had tolerated him twice, but a third time would shame his title. Later, in her private realm, Duan Yishaji sat on her throne, assigning Demon Lord Bertie to lead the coalition and annihilate the Dark Knight clan. Yet she frowned, warning that anyone who rose to Dark Knight Monarch in a year was abnormal. Caution was vital despite their superior forces. She handed him a sigil crystal engraved with her skill. One use would solve any trouble. Meanwhile, atop a mountain, Yun Shen dragged his weary body. Half a year of grueling training had drained him. Xiao Wu cheered, eyes bright, had finally done it. Primal energy radiated powerfully from him. Yun Shen panted, drenched in sweat, admitting that a single test had nearly exhausted his demonic power, still far from Teacher Shia's level. Just then, Xiaoling landed urgently behind him with pressing news. She reported breathlessly that demon clans were mobilizing armies. Something big was coming. Mid-sentence, she froze, stunned by the sight before her, unable to believe Yun Shen had caused it. Xiao Wu smiled proudly. If she hadn't seen it herself, even she wouldn't believe such power. Yun Shen sat down, wary yet bright-eyed, asking for tea and snacks while reminiscing how he once was a nameless nobody. Now they looked at him with awe, his strength beyond theirs, unsure whether to rejoice or fear that a human now ruled the Dark Knight clan. Yun Shen turned slightly, asking about the news. Xiaoling, startled, replied that the clans had formed a coalition marching toward Dark Knight territory. Xiaoling added urgently the alliance's true target was none other than the Dark Knight Demon Nation. Yun Shen remained calm, eyes gleaming with insight, calling the alliance a rational move to balance fronts while minimizing loss. He rose, voice echoing through the hall. Everything was within expectation, then ordered preparations for battle. Meanwhile, at the Dark Knight Throne Hall, demon soldiers crowded the chamber, tension thick as smoke. Xiao Wu and Xiao Ling entered quietly, eyes sharp, gauging every movement. On the throne, Yun Shen sat composed, speaking coolly, mocking how a bunch of trash united could scare his people. The demons below grew restless. One shouted that this coalition was different, a real war, not mere bluff. A general stepped forward, trembling, reporting the enemy had 3 demon lords, 9 peak archdemons, hundreds of high demons, and countless lesser ones. He added that the gap was massive. Their side had only 5 true lords, and those 3 demon lords were nearly unstoppable. Yun Shen frowned, asking about Lord Liao Dohe, and was told he was the arena champion who succeeded Lord Coast Power just shy of demon lord level. Liao Dohe stepped out, imposing and resolute, swearing loyalty to the king and realm, vowing to fight to the bitter end. Yun Shen nodded slightly, gaze coldly sharp, praising yet wary, knowing this was no man to underestimate. Suddenly, Liao Dohe roared, aura flaring. He feared death, but feared his nation's ruin more, vowing to die before surrender. At once, the crowd behind him shouted in unison, their oaths echoing through the hall, begging the king to lead them to the end. Then 2 figures burst in, panicked, urging them not to waste lives while the front still fought humans. One spoke smoothly, pretending reason, suggesting ceding land for peace, even surrender wasn't shameful. Yun Shen watched silently, recognizing one as a noble of power, the other a scheming merchant neither loyal at heart. Chaos erupted. Pacifists called survival wisdom, while warriors spat coward, tension about to explode. Clarity dawned for Yun Shen. The lords stood firm for battle while nobles plotted surrender, so he commanded silence, declaring a decision in 7 days. When the crowd dispersed, only 3 remained. Yun Shen pondered, surprised that lords like Puro and Lechia still chose to fight despite trembling. Xiao Ling smirked knowingly, saying they had no retreat, then asked if the king knew why one must kill a predecessor to inherit lordship. She explained that surrendering meant losing domain and regalia, so only pure clan blood could safely pass on authority. Xiao Wu chuckled softly, saying breeding with Dark Knight demons could create matching bloodlines, and Yun Shen, transcending lineage, could wield the royal artifact freely. Xiao Ling added that those favoring surrender were mostly nobles and merchants, wealthy cowards, and Xiao Wu asked why Yun Shen hadn't declared his stance yet. He smiled sharply. If he spoke now, those nobles would flee overnight. He needed days to set the board. Xiao Ling bowed respectfully, promising to arrange everything within that time. Just then, the doors swung open. 2 figures entered, drawing all eyes. One spoke. It was Liao Dohe, respectfully announcing the lords had come to pay homage. Yun Shen stepped forward, gaze icy, asking why he'd once neared demon lord rank only to vanish from sight. Liao Dohe paused, calm, replying that if the Black Knight Empress had asked, he'd stay silent, but since it was Yun Shen, he'd speak. Yun Shen frowned, surprised why, and Liao Dohe met his gaze, saying Yun Shen had done what had longed to defy tribute and end forced conscription. Yun Shen chuckled mildly. Demons hate humans. Fighting for the front is natural, nothing wrong in that. Liao Dohe said softly, when I hid, I wanted proof that humans were truly cruel to believe the Empress was right. His tone darkened. Had wandered 20 years, meeting zealots from the Advent faith, mad, vicious, and stupid bandits masked as saints. He sighed, eyes heavy, when he finally sought truth and returned. War had already swallowed the kingdom. All was gone in an instant. Returning to the ruins, he found most of the dead were warriors, while civilians and children lived, proof the war had a purpose, not random slaughter. Liao Dohe went on heavily. The holy devout might not represent all humanity. Real human soldiers were rational, disciplined, unlike the rumors. His eyes chilled aside from the upper ranks. Like the 72 demon lords, no ordinary demon had ever returned from the front. Yun Shen clenched his fists, fury rising. Xiao Wu froze, realizing it was true. No soldier had ever come back despite war reports. Yun Shen's eyes blazed. Behind it all lay secrets the 72 demon lords had deliberately buried. He strode off. Xiao Ling called after, asking what secret he meant, and Yun Shen replied coldly, the true history of the dark and human worlds. Then he turned to Li Bella, asking how it felt to visit the human realm. She smiled. Aside from habits and looks, humans were little different from demons. Baha shouted in disbelief. Humans were cruel and vile. That was sacred truth among the dark folk. Yun Shen smiled faintly, eyes deep. Had expected that reaction, then asked Li Bella and Annabella if they'd thought the same before meeting humans. Li Bella nodded, smile fading, admitting she once believed so too. She added that in the dark realm, demons only knew humans through the mad holy devout, but on the battlefield they learned the truth. Humans were different. Her tone softened. Both races were consumed by hatred. Reason dulled as loved ones fell, and vengeance devoured all. Yun Shen calmly yet sharply reasoned that dialogue could prevent war, for no one truly wished to die. Such an idea, when it reached the dark world, struck like a blade into their faith, shaking the ruling order. Thus, the 72 demon lords forbade any frontline survivor from returning to stop rebellious thoughts from spreading. Baha clutched her head, muttering that even if Yun Shen was king, his idea was madness, impossible to accept. Liao Dohi sighed, confessing he'd once doubted too, but after seeing human soldiers unlike the legends, his faith wavered. Head searched countless records all condemning humanity without proof, and found no trace of their supposed atrocities. So his doubt deepened though limited in power. Hearing of the new king's strange ways, he returned to seek answers yet still couldn't see the war's true benefit. Hearing this, Yun Shen's gaze darkened. If the demon realm was rich in resources, why wage war at all? Then he brushed the thought aside. First, defend their realm and strengthen their forces. The secret, perhaps, only the 72 knew. Soon, word of the full-scale assault spread across the demon realm. Some rallied to war, others fled, most waited in silence. 7 days later, tension strung the realm like a bowstring. Crowds gathered at the capital or watched through demonic projections. At the peak of tension, all eyes turned to the central square, awaiting the king's final decision. Then Yun Shen stepped forth, his deep voice echoing across the skies. Today's broadcast would decide fight or surrender. He paused, sweeping his gaze over the crowd, reminding them the endless war had drained the realm, taxes and conscription breaking their backs. He continued, saying after the battle 4 years ago, their clan suffered heavily, lost status, and was scorned by the others. Because all resources were forced to the front, the kingdom could not recover. Brutal recruitment left the people exhausted. His low voice carried in such times, even sharing one meal as a family became a luxury. The crowd fell silent, eyes glistening. Suddenly, Yun Shen roared like thunder, asking how life had changed in his 5 years of rule. Cries erupted. They shouted that now they were fulfilled, no longer seized for war, even envied by other clans grateful to their king. Yun Shen nodded solemnly, warning that 71 other clans now marched together, claiming their peace was stolen tribute. His tone dropped. When their lands suffered, had any clan eased taxes or shared burden? No, he declared. They only demanded more, letting them die thus. Only battle could protect all they had. The crowd roared in unison, vowing to fight even if defeated. They'd flee elsewhere before waiting to die. Yet some whispered fearfully that fleeing to other lands might be safer. Yun Shen's voice turned cold. Did they truly think they could escape? He reasoned that once war spread, would other nations send their own to die or use outsiders like them as shields? So, he concluded, their only refuge was to defend this kingdom, the one place still theirs. Yun Shen clenched his fist and thundered, surrender and return to hell, or fight and keep what's yours. The choice is yours! A child burst into tears, sobbing in his mother's arms. He just wanted to eat, not starve again. Nearby, a mother wept. Her husband and eldest had died in battle. Only this child remained. If they lost, he'd have no life left. Then a man laughed bitterly, confessing he'd once broken his own leg to avoid conscription. Another sneered that he'd chopped off his arm, yet still feared the draft. An old man trembled, recounting he'd been sold as a slave, his son taken to war, his daughter sold, he alone survived. The crowd erupted in fury, shouting for war, swearing no one would steal their peace again, though a few still trembled in silence. Meanwhile, nobles whispered with disdain they were rich, could live anywhere, why die with these peasants? Yun Shen heard them clearly, eyes gleaming with dangerous delight. He stepped forward and declared boldly that the Dark Knight demons would fight with full might. The nobles panicked, begging the king to reconsider, saying war now was reckless, better to negotiate than spill blood. They caroused agreement, claiming that by ceding land and paying tribute, the other side would yield, for no one truly desired war. Yun Shen spoke coldly, eyes sharp as blades, calling nobles cowards, unworthy of their riches if they refused to fight. The crowd roared in approval. The people raged, cursing the nobles as useless trash without their wealth. Na stepped forward, calm but doubtful, asking if the king truly meant to go that far. Yun Shen sneered, you think him mad. Na bowed and swore to fight till death beside him. Yet the nobles secretly plotted, feigning loyalty while smuggling wealth away, believing money could buy paradise anywhere. Na watched coldly, calling them fools. If the king had spoken so boldly, he was surely well prepared. Smirking, he thought himself clever, having already sent his fortune to the border and planning to flee that night. A guard burst in, panting with alarm, making Na frown and demand an explanation. The guards stammered the escort had betrayed them and stolen everything, leaving Na pale and stunned. A messenger crow flew in, croaking that the city guards had seized all warehouses and would kill anyone trying to flee with wealth. The nobles froze in terror, realizing their escape plan was crushed before it began. Na clenched his teeth. This was the Dark Knight King's trap, but believed he still had hope thanks to a hidden spatial mana stone holding more treasure. Suddenly, a hand struck his face, sending his mind spinning. Nba Ola appeared, smiling icily, mocking his foolishness and reciting every move he had made. Na trembled, asking what she intended, but Anne snarled that he had defied royal orders and must pay. She slammed him to the ground, pinning him before he could resist. His men screamed that Na was dead, then furiously demanded why Anne dared to kill him. Nba Ola stood tall, thundering, why would I dare? Want revenge? Come try. She glared around, warning, hide your wealth. If you wish, just be sure your own lackeys won't sell you out. Xiao Wu grinned and asked Xiao Lang how he made men betray their masters. Xiao Lang murmured that anyone yields when money, power, life, or family are at stake. Xiao Wu laughed, praising him as a true demon, ruthless but unsurprising in this world. Yun Shen's voice rang out from the dais. The farce ends now, prepare for battle. The crowd roared like a storm, chanting, fight, fight, fight! Scene shift inside a closed chamber. Yun Shen sat deep in thought as Madame Hai entered, reporting she had assigned watchers for nobles and merchants as ordered. She added that Nas' corpse now hung on the city gate, frightening the nobles into donating their riches for war. Yun Shen nodded coldly, saying this was only the beginning. Chaos within must end before facing outer foes, then asked about the region's status. Xiao Lang reported that morale was high, with only a few cowards fleeing at night, too few to matter. Yun Shen agreed, saying such weaklings were useless anyway, then turned to ask Lu Duoxi about the allied army. Lu Duoxi detailed that the enemy had 3 demon lords, 9 domain chiefs, hundreds of high elders, and hundreds of thousands of troops with full engineering and logistics support. Madame Ha gasped in fear at such power, noting they had only 80,000 soldiers, while Yun Shen gravely acknowledged the huge gap. He observed that both the demon and human realms had similar warrior ratios, making the alliance of 71 clans truly formidable. Xiao Wu asked when they would march. Lu Duoxi replied the advance had begun and would reach the border in 3 days. Yun Shen frowned darkly, saying 3 days, they're impatient indeed, and Lu Duoxi confirmed it. He analyzed that so many clans rarely cooperated, yet now rushed to fight, meaning they saw Dark Knight as easy prey. Yun Shen smirked coldly, muttering, fine, let's see whose teeth break first, his tone dripping with killing intent. He then reminded Lu Duoxi, who had traveled for over 20 years, that his knowledge of the clans would be invaluable. When Lu Duoxi agreed, Yun Shen rose and ordered Baha, Lucia, and Puro summoned for a war council. Meanwhile, at Torito Castle near the demon border, a massive being on a beast mount roared commands. He sneered, a petty city like Dark Knight, my army can flatten it in 3 hours. At his shout, the legions charged, their war cries shaking the battlefield. Suddenly, a white flag fluttered from the city walls amid the smoke. The gates opened, and 3 trembling figures raised their hands high, surrendering on behalf of all Torito. Some guards outside still hesitated, unwilling to lower their weapons. In the central tent, a bound captive knelt, trembling and begging for mercy, promising to reveal every secret. Lale laughed mockingly, calling them worthless cowards but admitting fear at least made them obedient. His comrades lamented missing a slaughter. Barati cut in sternly, saying seizing land without losses was victory enough, and killing prisoners would bring punishment. Lalai smirked, saying prisoners had value, strong ones could be sold, weak ones thrown to the front lines, killing them was wasteful, making Tak snort coldly. Barati calmly ordered the surrendering lord interrogated for intel, and the rest imprisoned for later judgment. The lord kept sobbing for mercy. Lalai sneered that Dark Knight was full of cowards and vowed to personally crush the royal city for glory, with Tak eagerly agreeing. But Barati stayed composed, warning that even a weak Yun Shen was still a king and not to be underestimated, then ordered the army split into 3 to hold and attack nearby zones. Hearing that, Tak flared up, mocking that Barati was just lucky to be made commander and had no right to give him orders. He grabbed Barati's collar, snarling that Yun Shen's side was so pathetic a spit could drown them. Lele stepped between them, taunting whether Tak now doubted their own army's might. Just then, a soldier burst in shouting of an emergency, making Barati leap to his feet in alarm. The soldier stammered that 2 assault units had been wiped out. The enemy defenses were far stronger than expected, clearly a preset ambush. Barati clenched his fists, furious how could 1,500 troops be annihilated without any backup response. As crimson dusk fell, the grim news spread through camp. Barati's cold eyes narrowed. Such strong defense from a small domain was suspicious. He roared in anger, declaring the enemy had laid traps for a much larger scheme. He reasoned there were only 2 choices: charge the royal city and risk the rear, or divide forces to hunt guerrillas and delay the attack. Inside the alliance, the clans despised Dark Knight, refusing to combine magic, squabbling over glory and loot. If war dragged on, they'd fall apart before victory. Lalai jumped up, eyes gleaming with scorn, laughing that Dark Knight was a joke too weak to be called a foe. He shouted, then stormed off like a tempest, swearing to personally bring back Yun Shen's severed head. Barati shouted after him in rage, calling him a fool. Dark Knight excelled at ambushes, but Demon Lord Tak just laughed, already planning the victory feast. Meanwhile, at Dark Knight's royal city, cheers erupted. Their first triumph ignited fierce morale. Lu Duoxi calmly warned against early joy. The enemy had 400,000 troops, losing a few thousand meant nothing. Xiao Lang still grinned, saying a win was a win. Yun Shen spoke coolly, let's see if they rush or slow to regroup, then well play our next move. Suddenly, the ground shook violently. Explosions rocked the air as everyone dashed outside in alarm. There stood Lalai, gripping a soldier by the throat, a crater beneath his feet from his landing. He grinned savagely, shouting for Yun Shen to show himself or he'd snap the soldier's neck. But his grin froze when he saw Yun Shen and his men already facing him in cold silence. Lalai sneered, unleashing demonic energy and roaring that had found his prey, then lunged forward like lightning. A thunderous blast erupted, dust and debris flying, civilians screaming as chaos engulfed the city. Amid the smoke, Ludoxi raised his hand to block, bellowing, "You won't touch my king!" Lalai staggered, sensing a strange, formidable power radiating from his foe. Burrow dashed in at Ludoxi's call, lightning magic blazing as they drove Lalai backward. Xiao Wu wasted no time, unleashing a void seal, eyes blazing. "Anyone who dares assassinate the king will die!" Xiao Lang charged, unleashing chain slash strike, his blade tearing through the quaking air. Lalai roared back, bursting with demonic might. "A mere domain lord dares face me." Storm thunderburst. The blast struck hard. Xiao Lang was thrown back, spitting blood and groaning in pain. Lalai laughed wildly. "Pathetic weaklings, you dare oppose me, courting death." But before he finished, Ludox's thunderous fist slammed into him, sending him flying as the royal city shook under the deafening blast. Lalai roared in fury, shocked that Dark Knight hid so many powerful masters. He stared at Ludoxi, realizing the man had reached Demon Lord level, empowered by royal force, now a true threat. Lalai cursed inwardly. Worse still, Yun Shen hadn't even acted yet, clearly hiding his trump card, while his own ambush had failed completely. Just as he turned to flee, Yun Shen appeared behind him, smiling coldly. "After all this chaos, you still think you can run?" The Demon Lord panicked and instantly used teleportation, vanishing into the sky. But Yun Shen leapt after him, stepping through space itself, leaving Lalai stunned in disbelief. He realized his enemy also possessed teleportation. Distance was no safety now. Gritting his teeth, the Demon Lord knew killing Yun Shen quickly was impossible. Escape was his only option. Yun Shen saw through his intent and roared, "You want escape?" He snapped his fingers, unleashing the Night Eye, making the Demon Lord curse. Had forgotten that skill. The Domain Lords charged together, eyes blazing, eager to slay a Demon Lord. The chance thrilled them beyond measure. The Demon Lord bit down, knowing Night Eye was dangerous but telling himself it would only bind him for seconds, not enough to wound him badly. Yet Yun Shen didn't stop. He unleashed one strike after another, igniting the air with crimson demonic fire. The Demon Lord froze as heat surged, sensing a terrifying buildup of power behind him. He spun, realizing the attack was unstoppable. He had to run. Pouring all his strength into escape, he was pursued by the Domain Lords. The clash exploded violently, throwing everyone back. Yun Shen landed amid the smoke, eyes icy, scanning around and muttering, "Dead already." He picked up a charred fragment, frowning as he found it empty, a soulless puppet. Carlos roared in fury that the enemy could invade the royal city so freely, while Xiao Wu sighed, guessing it was a Demon Lord of the Sim Lin clan, famed for being hard to kill. Yun Shen asked gravely, "Is the Sim Lin clan truly that hard to destroy?" Xiao Wu nodded, explaining each demon clan had its innate bloodline gift, like Dark Knight's Night Eye. She continued, "The Sim Lin possessed two gifts: spatial slip, granting extreme teleportation, and life tax, letting them survive mortal danger. That power let them shed their bodies, escaping control or fatal blows, but only 3 times in life, leaving them weakened for a month after." Yun Shen frowned slightly, wondering why such a gifted clan ranked only 31st in the demon realm. Xiao Lang explained that despite their talents, their bodies were frail after using life tax. They were exhausted, suited for stealth and assassination, not open battle. Yun Shen nodded, realizing the Simlin Demon Lord's true goal had been assassination, not a solo siege. He ordered sharply, "Reassemble the fragments, hang them as a warning. Use every mana crystal to seal all teleportation around the royal city." Then he turned away, voice icy, warning the commanders that such recklessness must never happen again. Meanwhile, furious shouting erupted. Bharati pointed straight at Lalai, forcing him to face the disaster he'd caused. He condemned the crime of disobedience, acting alone, ending up dismembered and hung at the city gate, mocked by monsters, disgracing the entire army. Yet Bharati's rage didn't fade. He shouted that rumors had spread through Dark Knight's capital, shattering the Alliance's morale. Who would take responsibility? I bowed my head, voice barely a whisper, only managing 2 words: "I'm sorry." Then the Demon Lord stepped in, sighing and urging calm, saying blame was useless, they should focus on a new plan. Still fuming, Bharati slammed the table, roaring that with a Demon Lord among them, they should have crushed the Dark Knight King easily. Clenching his fists, he declared they'd reclaim morale through victory, ordering 50,000 troops to split into 4 forces and crush the nearby towns. The plan followed: 20,000 elite to storm Ramsai Fortress, the rest to strike 3 neighboring towns. Normally, those border posts held only a few hundred to 5,000 troops, easy prey, or so they thought. Unexpectedly, despite their overwhelming numbers, all 3 assault forces were annihilated. The Dark Knight troops were far more numerous than predicted. Bharati went berserk, slamming the table and roaring, how could they possess such massive forces? Was someone manipulating events behind the scenes? He fell silent, eyes darkening, feeling as if unseen eyes were watching his every move. Meanwhile, Dark Knight's commanders cheered wildly, calling it proof of their king's might, while the Alliance tasted bitter defeat. In contrast, the Allied camp sank into gloom. Some sighed that the losses outweighed any gain, wondering if the war was still worth fighting. The Dark Knight King spoke coldly that every land outside the capital could be sacrificed as long as final victory was secured, then told Carlos to keep grinding down. The enemy victory would be theirs. He explained calmly that even taking the shortest route, the Alliance had to cross over 200 towns, each small win adding up to ruinous losses. Carlos worried, asking what if they advanced slowly. Instead, the king smiled coldly. Then it'd be even better. He'd set traps and bleed them before retreating. He shook his head, saying they'd never do that. Those arrogant fools knew nothing of cooperation. Only heavy losses could make them stop. The king rose and commanded, "Let's move, Puro. It's time to act." Puro bowed deeply. "Yes, my liege." In the following days, Bharati launched new assaults, but ironically, fortresses surrendered fast while towns fought fiercely. Defeats piled up. Though casualties weren't huge, the constant losses drained morale. Tactics changed, yet every battle ended in disaster. As Yun Shen foresaw, the Alliance learned nothing. Instead, fury and chaos grew, everyone blaming Bharati. Bharati raged like a madman, eyes blazing. Every move he made was anticipated. Clearly someone unseen was pulling the strings. Furious, he recounted how even embedding demon lords in his ranks failed. They were exposed and ambushed every time. Lalai suspected a traitor within, but Demon Lord Tak refuted it, saying the multiclan troops had little contact with Dark Knight. Betrayal was impossible. Refusing to give up, Lalai asked if captured soldiers might have leaked intelligence. Bharati snapped, that was absurd. The captives were forced into logistics, nowhere near sensitive information. Demon Lord Tak slammed the table in anger, shouting to stop overthinking, just gather all forces and strike the royal city directly, prompting Bharati to roar back that it was suicide. He growled that demon lords weren't invincible no matter how strong. One alone couldn't face tens of thousands of demons in open chaos. Bharati added that the enemy wasn't foolish enough for direct battle. They had terrifying anti-demon weapons capable of blowing a demon lord apart in a few blasts. Staring coldly at Tak, he warned, if they focus their might and encircle you with thousands of soldiers, would you survive? You'd be walking into hell. He sighed heavily, finally grasping the Dark Knight King's plan, sacrificing land to grind them down bit by bit. And to do that, the king had to know their every move in war. Information reveled strength. Eunice crept over him. The enemy knew his plans in detail while he was blind, unable to fathom how they did it. Meanwhile, deep within the royal city, the Dark Knight King sat in shadow, dark mana swirling around him. He murmured that every being with mana emitted unconscious waves and he could sense them through Manako, a fusion art of mage, engineer, and warlock. Normally, the echo's range was a few thousand miles, but by focusing dark mana in one direction, it could reach 20,000 at great energy cost. Combined with amplifier runes and rare power crystals, coverage could expand to 200,000 miles, blanketing the front lines, sustained by vast manastone reserves. Yet he frowned, admitting that not all waves came from enemies. To distinguish them, he had to filter each signal carefully since most Dark Knight demons emitted similar frequencies. In contrast, the allied army's waves were chaotic, especially demon lords, whose sensitivity made them easy to detect, while the overall chaos helped him stay hidden perfectly. Thus discovery was near impossible. Once he mapped enemy movements, he simply dispatched 80,000 troops for patrol and reinforcement, commands sent via monstrous eyes as remote relays. Smirking, he thought, with absolute control of information, the whole battlefield is mine. Suddenly Burrow spoke up, warning that maintaining this spell burned over 10 billion mana coins. Daily the treasury might collapse. The king closed his eyes, smiling faintly. Thanks to treasures looted from La Cana, the matron's legacy, and noble contributions, the treasury still held, and more importantly, the captured soldiers were about to act. On a moonless night, darkness devoured the sky as a shadowy host moved silently. At the allied camp, an officer soaked his feet, boasting that only the demon lord's mercy spared the captives, letting them live as slaves. Denoli, a disguised Dark Knight agent, looked up with a meek smile, replying humbly, "Of course, we'll serve you faithfully, my lord." Inwardly, he sneered. Those fools didn't know the truth. To the Dark Knight clan, a captive's only fates were eternal servitude or death on the field. Soon the slave feigned timidity, whispering he'd overheard something important, which made the officer glare furiously and bark, "Speak." He lowered his voice, saying the officer's wife had once been taken by a shadow abyss fiend, who now fought beside him, laughing in his sleep at the memory. The officer exploded in rage, pounding the table. "That cursed fiend deceived me once, and now he mocks me. Tell me where he is, I'll kill him myself." The slave smirked inwardly. How Nadavi he hadn't surrendered to live in humiliation. Another slave jumped in, feigning outrage, reminding the officer of an old feud, his ancestors, slain by the Allah's clan, asking if fighting beside them wasn't shameful. Meanwhile, Bharati sat in his command tent, brooding, unaware the spark had already caught flame. Suddenly, shouting erupted outside, soldiers screaming for vengeance, others hurling insults. Bharati froze, baffled. A panicked soldier rushed in, reporting a brawl in camp. Bharati sprang up in shock. Mutiny. Outside, curses roared as troops clashed, steel flashing while all calls for calm drowned in blind hatred. Bharati bellowed across the camp, cursing them for forgetting the real enemy before them and defying their commander. But fury only spread. Squads rallied, screaming to slay traitors. No one obeyed orders anymore. Demon Lord Pake sneered quietly. See, you've lost too much. Your men no longer fear you. Enraged, Bharati stomped hard, blasting mana that sent debris flying and dozens of soldiers sprawling in terrified silence. He growled, I am the commander. This is what happens to mutineers. Instantly, the entire camp fell still. Later, in the command tent, Demon Lord Lalai rose, insisting someone had incited the riot and demanding an immediate investigation and public execution. Bharati sighed warily. He knew the agitators were mere sparks. The real issue was how easily the troops were provoked. He recalled that long before the Void Demons appeared, Dark Knight's clans had slaughtered each other endlessly. Old grudges ran deep, their alliance fragile. Bharati raked his hair, thinking if only had unified them earlier. Now a single whisper could spark mass bloodshed. At last, he gritted his teeth, deciding to halt all campaigns and reconcile the ranks, or the alliance would collapse before battle. Meanwhile, laughter echoed in Dark Knight's capital. The King of Dark Knight smiled in satisfaction as news of the alliance's chaos arrived. Pleased, he said, he merely gave orders. The real credit belonged to the Domain Lord, who had traveled for 20 years forging connections. Carlos bowed humbly, explaining that through those ties he gathered countless rumors in the Allied army, and by exploiting old tribal grudges, made them tear themselves apart. Then Yao Wu voiced concern. The alliance's internal strife caused limited losses, while their own troops also suffered. Was it worth it? The king smirked, saying appearances deceived. Suppressed fury was far deadlier. He added that, since the alliance despised him, even in victory they'd overlook the seething resentment festering in their own ranks. Turning, the king asked which city lay next on the enemy's march. Burrow replied, it was the territory of Lord Pa Tai, the city of Gethier. The king nodded, recalling Pa Tai, once a mighty demon lord under his command, ruling vast lands and resources enough to fund a major campaign. He instantly ordered 2 officers to go to Gethier and prepare defenses, and to retreat at once if the tide turned. Both bowed in assent. The next day in the Allied camp, a heavy gloom hung over everything. Soldiers ate in silence, irritated at being split from their own kind, and forced to live among alien clans. Resentment simmering on every face. Bharati pondered, knowing distance remained, but believed shared meals, drills, and suffering would soon unite them. He smirked, thinking if this works, he'd command the strongest army ever and end all division. In the command tent, Bharati met 2 demon lords, declaring they'd attack Gethier in 3 months. A rich land wouldn't easily surrender. Suddenly, chaos erupted outside. Shouts, curses, and someone screamed, traitors! Kill them all! Startled, Bharati frowned. Another civil clash. A trembling soldier rushed in, reporting that HAA's troops were outside the city, challenging them to a life-or-death duel at Gethier. Bharati roared, demanding the exact defensive strength of Gethier. The soldier replied that 70 to 80,000 troops were gathered, seemingly well prepared. Bharati weighed the odds. Ignore it and morale dies. Charge in and risk an ambush. Finally, he ordered Lalai to stay and command while Demon Lord C led the army to crush the trap if it existed. Demon Lord C laughed fiercely, accepted the order, leading 3 warlords, 40 elites, and 120,000 soldiers to storm Gethier. Across the field, HAA troops jeered loudly, mocking the alliance's cowardly turtles. They shouted, didn't you want to wipe out HAA? Come then, step into our city and die in pieces? Receiving signals from scouts, HAI soldiers probed the lines and urgently sent reports back to Gethier. Reports said the coalition was advancing head-on with 120,000 troops, no division of forces. A worried soldier in Gethier cried, we've no demon lord here, and they've got one leading them we can't hold. At the main camp, Bharati asked grimly about the battle's progress. The soldier stammered, saying C had reached the walls and was fiercely fighting. Bharati sighed, such power should have crushed the foe easily. But his brow furrowed. Something felt wrong. They must win yet, still prepare for surprises. Meanwhile, Gethier was a smoky hell of explosions and screams. Demon Lord C roared, leading his army into the inferno, blades flashing through the haze. Distantly, fire pillars shot skyward as artillery thundered like storms. He scoffed, heavy cannons stopping a demon lord. Ridiculous. Yet, glancing around, he soon realized the enemy's strength far exceeded expectations. He gritted his teeth. Surely HAIA's king had sent 3 more warlords, using terrain and firepower to stall him. Enraged, he became a black cyclone, cutting foes down with a mocking grin. Seeing HAI's lack of demon lords as fatal, he roared, I'll show you real power! At that moment, Lei Chia appeared, eyes cold, raising the Demon King's ring as violet light flooded the battlefield. A massive surge of demonic power formed a phantom tiger that slammed into C, shaking the entire city. From afar, Xiao Wu shouted, still alive. Lei Chia gasped, barely, but it drained more than I expected. As the smoke cleared, Si roared furiously. He'd been tricked. They'd warped his attack with a royal artifact, a prize worth stealing. Yao Yu unleashed another Demon King relic, binding him with magic chains, but Si snapped them easily, sneering as he thundered forward. Lei Chia glanced quickly and muttered that 8 cannons had turned, all firepower now aimed at him. Demon Lord Si realized the 2 warlords never meant to win, just stall him for the artillery to finish the job. He laughed, admitting their cleverness, but scoffed it meant nothing while his 120 Zhaozhen troops crushed the enemy front. Suddenly, inside the fortress, HAIA soldiers shouted in panic, "Wait, what's happening? Was the tide turning?" Outside, the Allied army was being pushed back, their strategy collapsing in disbelief. Some desperate soldiers screamed for reinforcements. Only a cold voice replied, "Can't hear you. Sure, we're allies, but not on the same side." Demon Lord Si smirked. Realizing chaos had shattered their unity, they'd destroy themselves. The Allied troops turned on each other, curses echoing, blades flashing, trenches soaked in blood. A purple flash lit up. One soldier grinned madly, shouting, "You betrayed me, now die!" as he swung his sword. Amid the frenzy, soldiers butchered one another, screaming to settle old and new debts alike. Si roared in fury, "Drenched in blood, idiots! You're killing each other mid-battle!" Clutching his head, he howled in despair, all mad, all doomed. Regret gnawed at him. Had he forced unity sooner, this wouldn't happen now. His army was ruined. Just then, shouts rose from behind. "Slaughter every HAI a demon!" echoing across the battlefield. Some rejoiced, thinking reinforcements had come. "Supports here? We're saved." Xiao Yu paled, realizing at least 100,000 enemy reinforcements were arriving. She ordered HAIA troops to retreat and begin the final plan. The HAI soldiers obeyed, yelling, "Retreat! Quickly!" as explosions thundered around them. Seeing them flee, Si bellowed, "Don't let them escape! Fire everything!" The armies clashed once more. Gaither shook as Lachia screamed to detonate the explosives hidden in the walls. A colossal explosion rocked the land. When the smoke cleared, the Allied army marched triumphantly through the ruins. Geithir had fallen, victory bathed in blood and corpses. At the War Council, generals gathered. One reported grimly, 97,300 dead, 35,000 severely wounded, 20,000 lightly injured. From his high seat, Bharati frowned and asked about enemy losses. The aide trembled, saying about 20,000 dead or captured. Most of their casualties came from the wall blasts. Demon Lord Si slammed the table, cursing their fortresses had all been rigged with bombs. HAIAs. King had planned it perfectly. Without reinforcements, they'd be doomed. Demon Lord Lalai shouted that counting all losses, only 210,000 core troops remained. Such a defeat was a joke to the world. Bharati listened silently, then said gravely, "Though their numbers stayed higher, marching through hundreds of towns would soon drain both morale and strength." He sighed. At least the soldiers had learned their lesson. No more factions, a small mercy amid defeat. He dismissed his subordinates and sat alone, admitting HAI's king was cunning and intelligence had somehow failed him. Narrowing his eyes, he thought only by breaching HAIA's royal city could all mysteries be solved. Turning to Lalai, his voice grew cold at this point. "We may have to use that." Lalai froze, stammering, "Why look at me like that? The last defeat wasn't my fault." Bharati smirked. "True, but if you hadn't recklessly stormed the royal city and drained your power, the enemy wouldn't have resisted." Lowering his head, Bharati spoke icily. "They say Demon Lord Yan Lin values honor. If he learns of this, you're dead." Lalai paled and confessed, trembling. Then Bharati placed a hand on his shoulder, smiling wickedly, whispering of a forbidden ritual that could redeem him. Shocked, Lalai demanded to know how he'd learned that secret, known only to demon lords and the Demon King. Bharati replied coldly he had witnessed the ritual centuries ago in the war against the Xian Lin demons. It required the blood of 50,000 Akma to open a long-range assault gate, power enough to terrify the Alliance. Lalai leapt up furiously, swearing never to let his kin become sacrifices for such cruelty. But Bharati's face darkened, his aura freezing the air, growling that Lalai should remember his place under command. Just then, TG arrived, persuading him that conquering the royal city would earn him the grandest reward. Together they cornered Lalai, one wielding authority, the other dangling glory. At last, cornered, Lalai bowed his head and reluctantly agreed. Hearing that, Bharati laughed in triumph, vowing HAI's king would soon taste a shocking counterstrike. Lalai left grim-faced, heading to where the warriors gathered. The troops cheered wildly, thinking battle awaited, and demanding more slaves as victory spoils. Watching them, Lalai swallowed his grief, whispering an apology. Victory always demanded blood. Suddenly, crimson barriers flared around them, blazing like hell itself, devouring all life. Instantly, the blood drained every soldier's body. Their screams echoed through the camp, crying Lalai's name. They died in confusion, unaware why, their remains swirling into a vast, bloody vortex. Finally, Lalai poured all his power into activating the blood sacrifice array aimed at HAI's royal city. Elsewhere, in a hall thick with demonic mist, HAIA nodded approvingly to his subordinates, praising their efforts. Xiao Yu knelt in thanks, while the pink-haired girl beamed, saying with the king present, nothing was impossible. HAIA smiled calmly. Everything was going as planned. Once the Alliance arrived, victory would be his. Suddenly, a massive explosion thundered outside, shaking the chamber as everyone tensed. A monster burst in, shouting that the Alliance army over 200,000 strong was attacking the royal city's barrier. Heisha froze, face darkening. Impossible! They're 130,000 miles away! How could they arrive so fast? Without delay, he channeled demonic energy to trace the cause, his power spreading through space to link every intel source. Then he realized none of the attackers were beastskin, only demons bearing Xin Lin's aura. They must have used a forbidden spell. Understanding the situation, HAIA ordered all troops to return at any cost, but only 50,000 remained to defend the city. He rushed out, commanding everyone to prepare for battle, his followers scrambling after him. Outside, the roars of the Alliance echoed as waves of magic bombardment pounded the city's barrier. In a flash, HAA reached the ramparts, eyes cold as he surveyed the chaos of smoke and fire. Demons, he shouted for all troops, asking if they dared to fight to the death against 200,000 foes. The army roared yes, their battle spirit shaking the ground itself. Satisfied, HA waved his hand. Attack, we defend the royal city with our lives. Immediately, crushing blows rained down, cracking the shield as red light flickered wildly. Outside, the Alliance screamed fire, unleashing relentless waves of magic shells at the weakening barrier. Commanders bellowed orders, breach the wall and victory is ours. Crush everyone inside. Above, a general warned HAA the shield was collapsing. Without a counterattack, the royal city would be defenseless. After a tense pause, HAA grit his teeth and roared, "Deploy!" Ready to die fighting, though the ambush was beyond all plans. Instantly, the land outside turned into hellfire. Magic bombs and blazing spells poured down like a storm of ruin. Following his command, the entire army charged forward from behind. He directed demon lords to strike at the enemy's leader. The leading warrior roared into battle, his aura's pressure forcing the enemy lines to stagger back. He bellowed that he would show them the true might of the HAA Legion. In a blink, he faced 3 foes at once, striking them down so swiftly that even HAIA watching above silently praised him. Seeing Xiao Yu and Xiao Lan coordinating perfectly, one controlling, one attacking, HAIA's heart steadied. Observing the field, he saw the demon lords locked in balance, though the enemy's superior numbers tilted the tide. The enemy army was several times larger. If his main force collapsed, the entire balance between lords would crumble. For now, the line held only because the opposing demon lord hadn't moved. Once he did, everything would shatter. HAIA closed his eyes, sweat beading, feeling the crushing weight, searching desperately for a path out of this losing war. Then he froze. A thought struck him. Why even seek victory? The demon civil war itself was his goal. From a human's view, the more demons died, the better. Win or lose, his mission was complete. Trembling, he clenched his fists, ready to order his men to die, buying time for Xiao Yu and Xiao Lan to flee, but hesitation gripped him. Memories flooded back, laughter, loyalty, and voices of those who had believed in him without doubt. Their cries of "for the king" echoed in his mind, tightening his chest with a duty he could no longer abandon. At that moment, enemy screams tore through the air, snapping him out of his storm of thoughts. On the battlefield, he froze. One of his soldiers was strangling an enemy, shouting up, "My king! The rest is yours!" Suddenly, a massive explosion flared before him, a red flash sweeping over as HAIA stood stunned. Behind him, soldiers gripped explosive crystals, whispering their final words, ready to die for the royal city and their loved ones. Amid roaring gunfire, they charged, clutching crystals that erupted into seas of blood and fire, tragic yet magnificent. The sight sent the enemy into chaos, fleeing in terror, screaming as their formation collapsed. From above, HAIA stood speechless. He had never ordered such sacrifice. They'd chosen it themselves. Someone beside him said, "Even the capital's citizens carried explosives, ready to perish with their foes for their king and land." HAIA's voice trembled. How could such a small race possess hearts so unyielding? While he only watched, he gave a bitter smile. Though just an imposter, to them he was still the one true king, worthy of loyalty. Flames of resolve burst in his eyes. He leapt from the wall, passing command away and declaring he'd fight personally. Below, the enemy surrounded his troops, jeering that the black demons had no bombs left, only death awaited. A young soldier knelt, trembling with rage and despair, biting his lip rather than surrender. Suddenly, blue flames erupted, devouring the foes. The soldier looked up, stunned, seeing HAIA blazing in the sky. The army roared his name, tears and sweat mixing in the cries of battle. HAIA wielded his weapon, fusing spell and demonic art. Each strike wiped out waves of enemies. Now unburdened by doubt, his sole purpose was to protect his people to the final breath. In that moment, he truly became a king, acting from heart, not human schemes. He roared, unleashed a heaven-splitting blow, diving down with an explosion that annihilated foes instantly. Demon lords nearby gaped, then charged to aid him, fighting with awe at their king's unmatched might. Lu Duoxi watched from above, eyes shining with respect, sensing untapped power still hidden within HAIA. Seeing their king in battle, the entire army blazed with fury, surging forward, vowing to live and die with him. From a high ridge, Barati watched in shock. Haia's personal charge had rallied the enemy beyond expectation. His face darkened. The plan to breach the capital was ruined. Lalai's botched assassination had made the foe hyperalert. Though furious, he waved an order. Si and Lalai were to strike together and bring him Hai's head. The two roared with excitement, their demonic power surging as they prepared for the death match. As they closed in, Hai slashed once, his blade flashing. Both bodies turned to ash in an instant. Yet at once, he sensed a strange killing aura approaching, instincts flaring in alarm. Turning, he saw black demonic mist condense, a power born from blood, death, and hatred itself. Hai clenched his fists, eyes blazing. This was the second phase of the 10,000 Calamity Doom, a force not his own. Watching purple light spread across his hand, he muttered, wondering how devastating the storm would be once that energy reached its peak. Just then, a deep voice echoed behind him. Turning, he saw Si emerging, murderous aura boiling. Before he could react, Si roared, unleashing a crushing punch. King, die! Haa raised his weapon to block, staggering back, eyes narrowing at power beyond imagination. The blow shattered his steel spear, his body trembling as cold sweat poured down. The impact hurled him into the wall, collapsing a section in a deafening explosion. From the rubble, he forced himself up, blood at his lips. Even with barrier-breaking magic, he couldn't match a demon lord. Before he could steady himself, another wave of demonic energy surged from behind, cold and heavy as chains. Turning, he saw Lalai approaching, sneering, this time no lords left to save you. Then Lalai kicked like thunder, sending Haea flying, laughing, be a good corpse and wait for death. From afar, Xiao Yu panicked to rush in, but Xiao Lan grabbed her arm, saying their side was stretched thin, they could only trust him. Haea clutched his wound, forcing himself upright, eyes icy. He would not fall. Si and Lalai advanced slowly, voices dripping, scorn you, call yourself king. Knowing a two-known meant suicide, Haea still gritted his teeth and activated his ultimate fusion skill. Instantly, he turned into a beam of light heading toward the royal city. Lalai blinked, then laughed, thinking he was fleeing. Si and Lalai gave chase, convinced he meant to use civilians as shields. They swore not to let him escape. From above, Barati commanded, ordering a gap open in the barrier to lure him into a trap. His aide trembled, warning that opening it would let demon lords breach the city. But Barati roared, if the king dies, the realm dies. Open it, or I'll kill you myself! A massive crack tore through the barrier, leaving a dangerous opening. At once, Haa dove through, ignoring Si and Lalai closing in. As three streaks of light converged, the aide screamed, the city will fall. But Hai's voice was cold, trust our king, he never acts in vain. Si and Lalai attacked relentlessly, forcing Haia to dodge under the storm of blows. Si laughed amid the flames. Mocking fool, you've turned your royal city into your own grave. He struck with overwhelming force, but Haia slipped into a spatial rift, dodging the fatal hit. Even so, Lalai blinked beside him, smirking, hurling a space-crushing punch straight at Haia. Gritting his teeth, Haia charged forward. He just had to endure a little longer, the destination was close. Moments later, he broke into a hidden dimension, Si and Lalai still chasing hard behind. When the great door appeared ahead, Haa exhaled in relief, almost there. He blasted the door apart and darted inside without hesitation. Outside, the pursuers paused. Lalai realized Haa hadn't fled to the people, but had chosen this place. Surely a trap awaited. Yet Si only sneered, dismissing the risk, shouting, charge in and level it all. Lalai hesitated briefly, then nodded in grim agreement. The door burst open, both intruders froze. The chamber was empty, Haa nowhere to be seen. As confusion struck, a lone figure before them slowly opened her eyes. A chilling gaze swept across them as a voice rang out, demon worms crawl back to hell. In an instant, terrifying power exploded, freezing them in place before they could react. Ice flooded the air, encasing them as they realized in horror their foe was a human of demon king rank. Within seconds, both bodies were buried beneath layers of frost. The woman's cold voice followed, let's go, they're all dead. Haa stepped out, bowing slightly in thanks, shaken that Master Shia's single strike had obliterated 2 demon lords. She replied calmly, that's all I can do. Losing 2 demon lords will make them wary, the rest is yours to bear. Haa placed a hand over his chest, solemnly vowing, leave it to me, master, you've done enough. Outside, the demon lord army sneered, boasting that Hai's king had fled, abandoning his men to die. Their leader gloated that the city would fall, civilians slaughtered, the price of defiance would be agony. Furious, Haea soldier shouted back, though fear gnawed inside, if even 2 demon lords had fallen, could the city still stand? As the great gates creaked open, the enemy cheered wildly, certain the demon lords had slain the king and opened it from within. Victory was theirs. But Haia's troops stared at the gate in dread. Had the city truly fallen? Who had betrayed them? Then Haeshan stepped forth, their king. Cheers erupted, fear melting into joy. Suddenly, 2 demon lord corpses dangled from the gate, leaving the invading army stunned in disbelief. Instantly, morale exploded, laughter thundered. Their Haa king was truly invincible. The demon lord army, meanwhile, quaked in terror, cold sweat pouring as they muttered their demon king's name, unable to believe both lords were dead. Bharati stood petrified, horrified at their corpses, unable to grasp what had happened to Si and Lalai. Then Haia soared into the sky, voice booming like thunder, commanding all forces to counterattack and purge the demon alliance. Inspired, his troops roared, surging forward like beasts tearing through enemy lines. The reversal made Bharati snarl. He admitted underestimating Haia, yet sneered that this would be his final victory. Clutching a black stone, he hissed, "I didn't want to use this, but you forced me. Whatever you've built will burn." He roared that by destroying the royal city itself, all of Haia's plans would vanish to ash. He invoked the power of Duanya Annihilation Protocol, summoning energy to erase the hated Haia. Suddenly, a colossal purple light struck, darkening the heavens. Civilians trembled, gasping under the suffocating aura of death. Haia's fury mixed with dread. What power could make him tremble like this, far beyond any demon lord's might? Liu Duoxi shouted a warning. "My king, that's a seal crystal. It holds the power of 7 Tai 2 archdemons." Haia's heart froze, so the Demon Alliance still had this nightmare trump card, aimed directly at the royal city. Bharati laughed madly, boasting, "Behold the might of Lord Duanjia Deet Sackler." As soon as he finished speaking, countless bolts of lightning poured down, like a divine storm, annihilating the entire royal city sky. Gigantic beams pierced the barrier and struck the city walls, shaking heaven and earth. The citizens screamed in panic, shoving and fleeing as cries for help echoed amid the lightning inferno. Hai saw the chaos and charged forward, shouting for his 2 generals to abandon combat and assist immediately. The 2 subordinates obeyed at once, spreading their wings and soaring off without hesitation. But 2 other demon lords blocked their path, roaring that none would escape their grasp. Instantly, massive vines burst from the ground, binding them tight and forcing them back toward the royal city. Hai ordered coldly, "Even if mana runs dry, push Pie's power to the limit," then asked Basta if she could lock onto the spell's target. She panicked and replied no, it was one of the 72 demon lords' skills. Even a few meters off, the city would vanish. Hai spoke grimly, "A few meters are enough, aim straight at me." Huang Luan shouted in protest, saying his death would doom the kingdom, while she trembled, insisting the spell would still attack, making his sacrifice useless. Hai roared, "Sacrifice your heads later, stop babbling. Thousands die each second. Do it now, that's an order!" They trembled but obeyed, quickly channeling power as she and Basta began the spell together. As she chanted, she screamed that the rest was up to her. "They must redirect the target no matter the cost!" She poured in everything, talismans blazing as her shout echoed. The target transfer spell activated. Instantly, tens of thousands of lightning bolts changed course, detonating straight onto Haie. The citizens froze, watching their king take the strike for them, tears streaming as they cried out not to lose him. Xiao Wu tried to rush out, but Xiao Lang blocked her, yelling what could she do, was she trying to die? Xiao Wu sobbed, saying it was the power of the 72 demon lords that even Mr. Yun said was unbeatable. Xiao Lang whispered, "Yin's miracles weren't just once." Bharati laughed madly, screaming that the fool's death doomed the kingdom. He saved no one in the end. But his laughter froze midair, his grin vanishing abruptly. Hai stepped out from the sea of lightning, body intact, majestic like a god. Bharati stared in disbelief, shouting that it was impossible. How could he be unharmed? Hai landed softly, exhaling that the royal city had shared the damage. Otherwise, even invincible, had have been obliterated. His recovery just barely saved him. His 2 subordinates rushed in, gasping in relief, shouting that their king truly endured. This alone was a miracle. Hai turned calmly, saying it was fine, they should rest, he'd handle the rest. Instantly, Hai's army's morale exploded. They roared that not even the 72 demon lords could defeat their king. Victory was theirs. Conversely, the demon lord's forces collapsed in terror, screaming that if his strength rivaled the demon master's, only all 72 together could hope to destroy Hai's kingdom. Ironically, Bharati sweated coldly, forcing calm. If he were truly the demon master, they'd already be dead. He had to analyze rationally. Watching Hai charge, he calculated his speed and power surpassed a demon king's, but still fell short of a demon lord's, surely relying on some rare artifact. He frowned and gritted his teeth. Such an item must have strict limits, usable only once, or else Hai wouldn't have waited till crisis to unleash it. Bharati glanced around anxiously. His troops were shaken, morale plummeting. At this rate they'd collapse before even losing. He bit his lip, realizing the quickest way to rally morale was a onion duel before everyone's eyes. Then Bharati roared, "Hai Demon King! I, Demon Lord Bharati, challenge you to a duel of life and death!" His voice thundered across the field, his aura flaring so fiercely that the entire battlefield froze. Xiao Lang shouted angrily, "Ridiculous! My kings fought half a day while you sat watching, now you dare challenge him." Lu Duhi smirked mockingly, "Keep dreaming, Demon Lord." Hai replied coldly, "And why would I accept?" Bharati raised his hand calmly, saying, "Your artifact's spent, you've fought twice already, you're exhausted. Don't you value your soldiers' lives?" He continued, my army outnumbers yours, yet I'll give you a chance one duel to decide it all. Win, and I withdraw. Dare you? His gaze turned razor-sharp. Accept, and we fight. Refuse, and your troops despair while mine regain faith. Who'll still call you demon master then? Hai pondered, recognizing the ploy. Yes, the odds were against them, his army wary. Bharati joining would make the chaos far worse. Looking at his soldiers, he clenched his fist. He couldn't let anyone else die for him. Then he smiled faintly and said calmly, fine. One duel, life and death. The demon lord's army erupted in cheers, vowing revenge for Tai and Lalei and to slay King Hai. Hai's forces roared back, our king's invincible, has slain 2 demon lords already, one more's nothing. We'll fight to the end. Xiao Wu trembled, worried facing a 3rd-tier demon lord alone was suicide. Mr. Yun wasn't a demon master, she whispered. Xiao Lang frowned, this time, we can't interfere. Bharati sneered, voice icy. Hai king, let me show you the gap even among demon lords. He added, I surpassed Tai and Lalai not by title, but by power. Stepping closer, he aimed his gun at Hai's head, scoffing, comparing me to them as an insult. Hai's face hardened, voice like frost, this battle will end quickly. Bharati laughed, indeed very quickly. He pulled the trigger, and black smoke engulfed Hai, swallowing his figure whole. When the smoke cleared, a massive battle armor with jet black wings emerged, stunning Bharati. It was an extreme enhancement form, its aura nearly touching the demon master's level. Suddenly, Hai's gun flipped, pointing straight at Bharati's forehead, leaving him frozen in shock. Hai said coldly, one shot for each, fair enough, right? Without hesitation, he fired. A burst of blue light exploded, Bharati's body disintegrating in the blinding blast. As the haze cleared, Hai and Poti stood bathed in dim light, Hai's face cold, his smoking gun still raised. Bharati staggered, blood seeping from his forehead, yet he smirked mockingly, upper demon strength enough to wound me, be proud. Inside, he gloated the power balance still favored him. Indeed, King Hai lingered between Overlord and Demon Lord. Even enhanced, he hadn't reached Demon Master level, still below Sada. Thinking so, Bharati raised his gun and fired straight at Hai, a flash blazing through the air. White smoke spread, the explosion faded, and Hai's senses drowned in thick darkness as if the world itself had stopped. Yet Hai calmly channeled demonic energy, sensing hidden currents and dodging the fierce bullet storm as a massive purple beam tore through space, chasing him relentlessly. Below, Bharati fired nonstop, each shot packed with destructive force, forcing Hai to dodge with everything he had. Bharati roared in disbelief. What? He dodged them all. Impossible! No one can evade every shot just by sensing aura! A deafening explosion erupted, dust and smoke rolling over the battlefield. Suddenly, Hai appeared above Bharati, his hand turning into sharp dragon scales as he fused the warrior's might and berserker's rage for a full-powered strike. His punch fell like thunder, blasting Bharati away. The ground shattered, leaving a crater beneath Hai's feet. Though hit, Bharati sneered, that's your attack, pathetic. He raised his gun, aiming coldly at Hai. Seems I'll have to show you a demon lord's true power. But Hai didn't flinch, drawing his long gun, eyes sharp as blades. Try me, he replied, unleashing a combo of furious head smash and blazing fire orb to start the deathmatch. Bharati reacted fast, pulling the trigger. Violet bullets pierced through the flames, streaking toward Hai. Hai startled, instantly activating Divine Flash, vanishing in a blink. A second slower, and had been pulverized the spot he stood now a smoking crater. Barely escaping death, Hai panted heavily, shaken to the core though still standing. Quickly analyzing, he realized he couldn't win from range. His enhancement time was nearly over. He had to switch tactics. At once, he cast the combo technique Shadow Flow IV, Dark Steel Theft, and Phantom Waltz, teleporting behind Bharati. Sensing the killing intent, Bharati stepped back, laughing, close combat. You're insane but fine, I'll humor you. The two clashed, dozens of invisible blows striking Hai in rapid succession. Bharati countered like a storm, each punch heavy as thunder, driving Hai backward. He mocked, this your strength, even rain hits harder, what a letdown. Suddenly, Hai uttered one cold sentence that made Bharati hesitate mid-strike. He frowned, his power was fading, movements slowing, something was wrong. Meanwhile, Hai grew stronger, demonic energy surging, his speed soaring beyond sight. In the split second Bharati lost focus, Hai delivered a fatal punch, blasting him away as the space around them quaked. The blow struck like a lightning pillar, the ground cracking open as the world trembled violently. Hit hard but still conscious, Bharati snarled, damn it is stealing my attributes! It's a plunder skill! I can't fight close anymore! Instantly Hai dove like a storm, speed tearing the air, his kick detonating light from the ground. The impact crushed Bharati down, pinning him motionless as Hai unleashed a rain of punches, each like a thunder hammer. He roared, rain down, Bharati, today's your doomsday. Blood sprayed as Bharati coughed, his body cracking, pain devouring his soul. From afar, Xiao Wu and Xiao Lang shouted in excitement, cheering Hai on, come on! Just a little more! Their cries shaking the entire camp. Yet amid the barrage, Bharati's energy suddenly surged, purple vortexes swirling around him, forcing Hai back as he roared furiously, don't get arrogant, worm! His eyes burned crimson, killing intent flaring, battle spirit erupting. I'll show you a power your kind can never reach. He raised his hand, purple energy forming a colossal blade as thunder forged its edge. Baratta's laughter rang wild and confident. Hai stood firm, crimson fire swirling around his arm in a blazing ring. His voice was ice primordial severing heaven prediction. Flames spiraled as destructive mana surged, his gaze locked on Bharati. Bharati smirked. You think you're the only one with a primordial skill. He swung his arm, the giant blade crashing down like a meteor. Hai struck back without hesitation, hurling a massive fireball and roaring, "In this, Bharati!" The two energies collided, exploding in blinding light that tore the sky apart. Shockwaves spread wide, space trembling as dust and destruction engulfed everything. The chaos left everyone stunned. The raging energy sphere obliterated all in its path. The terrifying power snapped trees, melted ground, and turned the entire battlefield into a sea of fire. "Run!" Voices screamed as panic erupted. No one could survive power beyond mortal limits. Lu Duhi gasped, "Impossible! The king hasn't reached Demon Lord, yet has mastered a primordial skill. Only demon masters can do that?" Xiao's eyes shone. No one taught him, he created it himself. In her heart, Xiaowu trembled. He walked a path none dared tread, feeling the essence with his own body, risking certain death just to touch a power even fourth-tier elites feared. Yet his opponent was a true demon lord with a complete primordial skill, making the duel's outcome uncertain. Amid the thick smoke, Hai panted, his eyes filled with pain and exhaustion. Cracks marred his face, proof of the brutal battle he'd endured. Bharati fared no better, one arm blown away. He hissed in fury, unable to believe someone below Demon Lord grasped primordial power. He shouted hoarsely, "Why is your primordial skill stronger than my severing origin? Where did you get it?" His eyes blazed with jealous rage as he realized Hai's essence outclassed his own. Hai knelt, breathing hard, thinking faintly, "I learned this flame origin from the ruins of Demon Master Bao Yan, once ranked in the top 10. A 21st ranked demon like you, Duan Yi, can't compare." The thought flickered as his strength waned. Seeing his foe weakened, Bharati approached with a glowing green orb, smirking. "No answer. Fine. I'm drained too, but you're worse, you can barely stand." From the orb, a sinister gun materialized. Bharati raised it, aiming straight at Hai's head for the killing blow. Suddenly, a shout echoed through the still air, "Lord Bharati, behind you!" Startled, he turned, only to see Hai's towering form behind him, gun raised, black muzzle pointed at his forehead. As Bharati froze, Hai slowly stood, eyes burning as he thought. When he used his primordial power, I ordered Shadow Fiend to bring the demon cannon. With the power of 10,000 wheels, I can activate it. A cold smile curved his lips as Hai roared, "Let's see if that broken body of yours can survive this." Bharati panicked, stumbling back and shouting, "Wait, we can talk! Don't be rash! Kill me and Lord Miche will hunt you to extinction!" But inside, he knew there was no escape. The gunfire thundered like the heavens splitting apart, a colossal flash tearing through the sky. The blast pierced through Bharati, burning half his body before he collapsed lifeless amid the ashes. Hai gasped, dropping to the ground as his enhanced form faded, his body covered in wounds. Cheers erupted across Hai Kingdom. Soldiers wept with joy, shouting, "The king has won! We've saved the royal city!" The demon ranks drowned in horror. One stammered, "Impossible!" Another screamed, "Told you! King Hai is one of the 72 pillar demons. Bharati never stood a chance! It's over! The demons have lost!" Though many fled, a few stubborn ones yelled, "Bharati's death doesn't mean defeat! King Hai is exhausted!" They roared, "Kill him! This is our only chance. Bring back the head of a pillar demon. Eternal glory awaits." Then they charged. Xiao Wu and Xiao Lang reacted instantly, rushing forward. "Quick! Protect the king!" Xiao Wu shouted furiously. They agreed to a duel, and now they betray it! But it was a heartbeat too late. The demons were only steps away from Hai. Watching them rush in, Hai smirked faintly. "Trying to help me, are you?" He gritted his teeth, voice cold, even weakened. "My equipment skills still work." A crimson orb appeared in his hand. Hai hurled it, golden pillar of light shot out, engulfing the enemies and turning them all to ash. The sight terrified the remaining demons. They froze, too afraid to move closer. A few tried to flee, but before they could get far, Hai's troops blocked them. "Roaring cowards! You dared strike the royal city while we were gone! Kill them all!" came the commander's firm order as blades fell in unison. Suddenly, a shout rose from the front lines. The royal guerrilla force has returned. The Hai army's morale surged, the tide of battle completely turning. One demon fell to his knees, trembling, "I surrender! Spare me!" The plea spread fast. Many threw down weapons and bowed for capture, as Hai finally exhaled in relief. He nodded slightly. "It's over." News of the coalition's defeat swept across the entire demon realm in an instant. Reactions erupted. Some raged, some mourned, others trembled, while a few secretly rejoiced. The dark elf queen laughed aloud. "King Hai, if fate allows, I'd like to meet you in person." Meanwhile, far away, Yun Shen of Light Fell opened her eyes, breathing steady. She whispered, "The war is over. It's time for my next task." With that, her figure faded into the air. After the Alliance's surrender, the city filled with cheers. People raised their cups, shouting, "Victory! By the king's decree, the capital feasted for 3 days and nights at the royal treasuries. Expense, laughter, and wine echoed through every street. In the spire hall, Haye sat solemnly upon his throne, his deep voice resonating. Baha, what's the report? Baha bowed respectfully. Your Majesty, we destroyed 210,000 enemies, captured 170,000, and seized 80,000 more while they fled. We lost 95,000. Most prisoners have been rescued. Haye pondered. Let Ain Bella handle the corpses. The prisoners auction them if not redeemed, reprogram them as combat slaves. All subordinates answered in unison. Yes, Your Majesty! Lu Duhi stepped forward softly. My king, losing 90,000 men for such a victory shouldn't that be cause for celebration. Haye waved faintly. A vast nation now has only 50,000 core soldiers left, half the capital in ruins. Tell me, how can I smile? Dismissed. Everyone quietly withdrew, leaving only Xiao Wu and Xiao Lang behind. Haye looked down, voice soft. Do you two still have something to say? Both knelt, moved to tears. Mr. Yun, you could fled, yet chose to fight for us. We vow our lives in gratitude. Haye hurried down to lift them up. No need, there's no such formality between us. Besides, you're disciples of Master Xia, all family here. Then Xiao Wu declared firmly, even if it costs my life, I'll protect you, leaving Haye stunned, unable to believe she'd defy her teacher for him. Just then, a cold voice behind them remarked that gossiping about one's teacher wasn't exactly wise. Master Xia appeared silently, her overwhelming aura making Xiao Wu and Xiao Lang tremble. Only Haye stammered, asking how long she'd been there. The two servants turned pale, fearing their master had heard everything and would kill them on the spot. Yet Master Xia merely walked past coldly, her voice calm but eyes sharp as blades, warning that one more careless word would earn them a tongue removal. Only then did Xiao Wu and Xiao Lang breathe again, their hearts dropping back into place. Master Xia's gaze softened as she looked at Haye, speaking of an upcoming departure 3 days from now. She'd leave, this meeting their farewell. She sighed softly, admitting she should have stayed detached from this world, yet seeing Haye made that impossible. Then she smiled faintly, brushing her disciple's hair, regretting she wouldn't live to see him fully grown. At last, she turned and walked away, leaving only a final blessing behind, entrusting all to her true self. Haye stood silent, watching her figure fade, sincerely wishing his teacher peace on her new journey. Meanwhile, at the Council of the 72 Pillars, the demons roared in fury, cursing Haye for the coalition's humiliating defeat. Duanyi Shiji clenched his teeth in rage, lamenting his true body's absence. Otherwise, he'd have slain Haye himself. The demon lords argued louder, some demanding vengeance, others scheming, none willing to share the spoils. Suddenly, Tunfei Jifu slammed the table, his icy voice declaring their army had seized half of human territory. Victory was near. Exploiting their emotions, he ordered absolute discipline. Any reckless act would be deemed treason. Instantly, silence fell. No one dared speak, all bowing as he left the chamber. Out of sight, he smirked, silently vowing that after humanity's extinction, he'd personally deal with Haye. Returning to his quarters, he asked subordinates about the logistics for the warfront. They replied that lacking Haye's share had delayed them slightly, but now all resources were ready enough to supply 6 months at the front. Hearing this, Tunfei Jifu laughed gleefully, convinced that even without the traitor's help, he could still exterminate humankind. Rising, his eyes gleamed dreamily as he imagined glorious victory, all kneeling before him. Just then, a terrified scream rang out. The space had been attacked, all supplies incinerated, and the southern demon lord was dead. Tunfei Jifu froze, gritting his teeth in disbelief. Who dared strike the first pillar, the second, humans, or the 7 guardian gods? At once, he barked orders he'd investigate personally, no matter the danger, needing to see it with his own eyes. In the sky, an energy disk hovered, sucking in wind and debris, forming a violent vortex. On the ground lay heaps of demon corpses, fires raging, a scene of utter carnage. When Tunfei Jifu arrived, fury surged though his tone stayed icy. Tell me, why are they all dead, and you still alive? The subordinate trembled on her knees, explaining she survived only because she was auditing supplies away from the site and saw the attacker with her own eyes. A blade suddenly pressed to her throat as Master Xia's cold, mocking voice rang out. She said, the attacker is this one, and this blade is the proof. Unexpectedly, Tunfei Jifu showed no anger. Instead, a pleased smile flickered across his face. He sneered, so, you weren't at the front but hiding in the dark world, and you dare strike me. That means you're ready to die. Master Xia chuckled, voice chillingly calm. The one dying today won't just be you. Instantly, green energy gathered into a frozen lotus, sealing the space and blocking every escape. Then purple lightning crashed from above, shaking the battlefield as demons screamed in panic. They roared together, kill! Our dominion must not fall! At that moment, Nika unleashed a barrage of attacks, shouting that if the demons advanced, she'd take them down with her. The more she fought, the stronger her aura grew, making the demons wail in agony. Suddenly, she froze. Something felt wrong before her eyes. Sure enough, the demons abruptly retreated, making her frown in confusion at their strange behavior. In the command post, chaos reigned as officers shouted for reinforcements. The 2nd and 7th lines were about to collapse. Vin Duang spoke sternly to Eski Tianhe. It's time I entered the field. I can wipe out all demons below Demon Lord rank. Eski Tianhe turned pale, trying to stop her, but Vin Duang only smiled bitterly, saying, with everyone I loved gone, what meaning does living have? She met his eyes, voice shaking. If you keep hiding the truth, the High Long Kingdom will be destroyed. Eski Tianhe fell silent, then gritted his teeth and ordered, Vin Duang, deploy immediately! Just as shouts of victory erupted outside, a messenger rushed in, reporting the enemy's sudden retreat. The capital was safe, leaving Tianhe in utter disbelief. According to prisoners, the Dark World's royal city had ordered a full withdrawal, as if some great disaster had struck. Tianhe clenched his fist, thinking perhaps General Xia's plan had finally taken effect. Vin Duang only lowered her head and smiled faintly, mocking herself for failing yet again to die as she wished. The next morning in Bamboo Fang City, Hai Yi silently gazed at the three demon corpses Lalai, Ka, and Barati deep in thought. He smiled slightly, recalling how he'd once asked Xiaoling to prepare their bodies as offerings. Only she could do so without arousing suspicion. Then he raised his hand in a ritual seal, offering the bodies of 3 demon lords and 210,000 demons to petition the power of the 72 demon pillars. Yet nothing happened. The corpses lay motionless, stone-like. Hai Yi gritted his teeth, muttering, maybe the offering's not enough, then let them become my strength, however the god decides. Instantly, he began the incantation, chanting the sacrificial rite as golden light flared like living fire. His body glowed, his experience soaring. He laughed aloud. 100 million points? Enough for 20 levels? Yet it still felt unworthy of the blood cost. Then a deep divine voice echoed across space, granting the skill ascensions, the power to push any ability to its absolute limit at tenfold mana cost. Hai Yi frowned, both amazed and uneasy, wondering how devastating the cost would be if he ascended a fusion skill. He did the math. If Fireball cost 20, Vines 35, fused it was 110 tenfold. That made 1100, a burden even he might not withstand. He clenched his fists, sighing once overflowing with demonic power. Now he had to count every spell like coins. As the sacrifice continued, he muttered that too many offerings brought bigger rewards, though it wasn't over yet. When corpses began to vanish, he grew wary. Old Master Xia said sacrifice was exchange, yet this god only devoured. He crouched, picked up a black shard, recalling the Wu Chang staff had seized, and decided to experiment. Gripping the staff, he smirked, expecting revelation, but darkness crashed over him, sweat pouring. Above, a blazing red eye opened wide, fixing its horrific gaze upon him. He froze in terror, body numb, breath gone, unable even to kneel, trembling before death. The red eye bulged and roared, insolent worm, you dare meet my gaze! Its voice quaking the world. A massive crimson hand appeared, thunderous, decreeing one word, die! He couldn't react, his body locked, mind scattering as the hand descended a breath away. Facing annihilation, he thought despairingly, before this power, dust utterly worthless. Suddenly, a 7-colored light burst beneath him, forming a blazing bird soaring skyward. The light engulfed him and vanished, leaving only shimmering emptiness behind. The red hand smashed the mountain apart, but he was gone. Meanwhile, deep in the forest, a lone figure walked lightly, eyes deep with knowing. Xiao Nana stopped, gazed up, chuckled. Who had enraged it enough to strike personally? She smirked, musing it wasn't hard to anger them. A hint of defiance was enough to drive those proud fools mad. Humming as she walked, hands behind her head, she guessed the rescue came from that brat, and if he lived, he'd be hers. Deep in the woods, dark elves found a pit. Their leader shouted. A stranger lay inside, unmoving. They surrounded him, seeing he bound by roots, debating if he was intruder or lost wanderer. One leaned closer, looked familiar. He the demon. Another nodded, handsome, but oddly magnetic. Suddenly, a fierce-faced elf appeared, snarling that all demons deserved death, no pity allowed. Raising his spear, he shouted, you trespass in dark elf woods, pay with your life? But Kiki rushed in, blocking him, yelling, wait, it really is he. Smiling faintly, she explained he once saved her, otherwise she'd be sold as a slave somewhere by now. She leapt down, lifting him up. The elves exchanged glances. Has good, maybe let him go. Kiki held half of his limp body, panicked, pleading his dying, torn apart, needs help now. The elves refused. The queen's law forbade sheltering demons, handsome or not. Kiki's voice shook. No money to send him away, and the demon lands were 3 months' journey. He'd never survive, please spare him. Still they shook their heads, citing rules. She bowed sadly, forced to find her own way. At last Kiki hid Hiei in a remote crevice, bandaged him hastily, and he sank deep into a coma. Sweat dotted his face, breath faint, body trembling in a nightmare's grip. In the dream, a crimson hand reached down from the heavens, roaring, lowly being, how dare you touch me? The hand struck, curse echoing, even if you live, you'll pay for your insolence. He had jolted awake, trembling, staring at his hands, muttering, what was that, and why did it want me dead? Clutching his head, he choked, just for seeing it. What a deadly joke. The door opened. Kiki entered with a warm towel and water, exclaiming with joy, you're awake! Hiei blinked, asking, you're the dark elf I saved, where am I? She clasped his hand, beaming. Imla Kiki were in a treehouse, 10 miles from the dark elf forest. He thought wryly, fate has a twisted sense of humor. Memories surfaced. Dark elves, fragile yet beautiful, hunted by the 72 demon clans, hating the demon realm. Being saved here was absurdly ironic. Then 2 female elves peeked in shyly, startling him. Kiki introduced them. My companions A Lily and Yuan Lulu. They risked their lives to gather herbs for you. A Lily blushed, whispering, feeling better. He nodded in thanks but secretly scanned them. Level around 20, crude gear, no threat at all. A Lily whispered to Yuan Lulu, he looked at me. What if he proposes? It's forbidden, but has too handsome. He froze. First time anyone in this dark world praised his looks. Kiki blushed too, rubbing her head, admitting Shed felt an odd warmth toward him from their first meeting. He gazed silently, feeling a rare flicker of comfort. He glanced at his blue boots, nature's guardian, an elven friendship relic boosting affinity and base strength, only given by royal blood. He felt lucky. Perhaps Nikan's gift earned him the elves' trust. Without it, he'd be dead. Tightening the laces, he asked seriously, what happened? Still baffled by his sudden transport. Meanwhile, outside the Black Night City, 2 demon women lingered in heavy mist, their silhouettes glowing in dying firelight. Xiao Yu asked anxiously, Xiao Ling, are you sure Mr. Yun is here? There's nothing but ruins. Xiao Ling nodded. This must have been his altar of sacrifice. Red lightning struck from above, the ground shaking. Xiao Ling frowned. An altar blessed by gods shouldn't vanish. The death aura here feels like a forbidden zone. Suddenly, Xiao Ling dashed off, shouting, forget the ban, we must save Mr. Yun. Xiao Yu tried to stop her. If exposed, demons would exploit it. They had to search in secret. Meanwhile, Kiki led Hiei to a deep pit, pointing, I found you here, tangled in roots the marks remain. Hiei pondered, recalling the blurry moment of attack. Some strange force had saved him, but whose? He picked up a dried root, thinking, this thing once saved me. It's no ordinary plant, though it now seemed unremarkable. Suddenly, a distant scream pierced the air, freezing them both. A Lily rushed in, pale-faced, shouting, it's bad! Yuan Lulu was attacked by a beast while picking herbs. Instantly, Hiei grabbed their hands, leaping forward. Go, knowing delay meant the girl's death. When they arrived, Yuan Lulu was surrounded by beasts, barely fighting back. Kiki and A Lily shouted, don't fear! We're here! Hiei stayed back, casting a test spell, smirking. It was just low-level trash, not worth concern. But then, a strange sound echoed. His magic dissolved into thin air. He froze, shocked. What's happening? My skills are gone. Chaos erupted. Dust clouds, roars, and screams filled the field. Clenching his fists, he sensed mana flowing fine, yet no skill would trigger an impossible phenomenon. Worse, the dark elves, underleveled and poorly armed, were being overwhelmed. Without his help, they'd all die. Just then, a massive beast roared, charging straight at him, sensing the strongest foe. Hiei tightened his fists, ready to fight bare-handed. Brute strength would be enough. Suddenly, horror struck. His body bound tight, limbs trapped by living demonic vines. Above, a giant foot pinned the vines down, a cold voice echoing, even alive, you'll pay for defiance. At that moment, Kiki dashed in, punching the beast hard, shouting, my lord, look out! Hiei gritted his teeth, forcing calm. His attacks were sealed, but support skills like appraisal still worked. Mana intact, only movement restricted. Then he had another option. He pressed his palm to the ground, eyes glinting toward a nearby flower bud. Meanwhile, Kiki was flung aside, crashing into a rock, blood streaking her lip. The remaining dark elves panicked, fighting and crying, despair rising like smoke. Suddenly, black thorns burst from the ground, entangling the beasts, binding them in agony. Fusion magic activated. Hiei summoned the Thorn Maiden, Xiaogai, unleashing chain skills. Dark Seed, Thorn Bind, Thorn Prison, all cloaked in shadow. Watching from behind, Hiei nodded. Just as planned. If he couldn't fight, let another do it. Unexpectedly, Xiaogai, reborn through dark mana, was stronger than ever, perhaps from old Master Shia's mark or this world's power. He raised a hand and commanded firmly, Xiaogai, finish them! Cheerfully obeying, she tightened the vines, crushing the beasts until they foamed and fell silent. A thunderous blast followed. The battle ended in a blink. Xiaogai ran up, eyes bright, bowing, Master, did I do well? Hiei smiled, patting her head, perfectly, Xiaogai. The dark elves approached warily, eyeing the strange girl. My lord, who is she? Calmly stroking Xiaogai's hair, Hiei replied, my summoned beast. If danger comes, seek her. My mana's enough to keep her here as your guard. Back in the Black Night City study, a scream erupted. Xiao Yu yelled, Xiaoling, come quick! Big trouble! Xiaoling entered coolly, frowning. What's the panic now? Xiao Yu pointed at the empty flower pot, trembling. Xiaogai was resting here just now, but she's gone! That means Lord Yin summoned her as alive! Xiaoling nodded slightly, voice cold but eyes relieved. Very likely. When Xiaogai returns, he'll question her about his whereabouts. Meanwhile, in a quiet cave, Hiei sat with his back to the wall, eyes soft as he watched Xiaogai sleeping beside him. Below, the dark elf girls also slept soundly, breathing evenly under the flickering firelight. Hiei touched his neck, feeling the chilling soul mark glow brighter, his sea god ivory nearly spent. When it faded, the mark would erupt. According to plan, after repelling the demon coalition, he'd face Imai Shiji and needed the Dark Elves' support. The Dark Elves were one of the weakest of the 72 demon clans, oppressed and bitterly hating the other 70, especially the Duanyi clan, whose lands bordered their forest. Duanyi forces enslaved elves, blockaded trade, starving them into despair, too afraid to leave their woods. Their gear was tattered, lives miserable, only their sacred tree shielded their last refuge. Their feud had long surpassed hatred, it was survival itself. Thus, by saving Kiki, a dark elf slave, Hiei hoped she'd become his bridge to form an alliance against Imai Shiji. This forest was the necessary first step. In theory, once Kiki vouched for him, and he revealed himself as the Black Knight Lord, meeting the Dark Elf Queen would be simple. But now, powerless and alone, who would believe him? Time was running out, the soul mark would soon flare, and if Imai Shiji tracked him, all plans would crumble. The alliance had to proceed carefully. Suddenly, a startled voice cried, "You what? Want to meet the queen?" Kiki panicked, shaking her head, voice trembling. "Absolutely not, you don't understand!" She explained fearfully, "The queen despises outsiders, healing you was already forbidden. If you go to her, it's suicide!" Hiei forced a smile, replying softly, "I just want to talk. I can protect myself." Secretly, he calculated if he met her, revealed his true title and Nikan's relic, plus his past feats, she'd have to listen. Kiki pondered, sighing, "You make sense, but the queen lives deep in the central forest, guarded by layers of elites far stronger than Xiaogai, would die before getting close." Hiei smiled calmly, "No need to request an audience. Just make her come to us." The statement left Lakiki speechless, Jun sighing at his bluntness. But Lakiki's voice faltered as she described her starving tribe, living on wild fruit and insects, never full, terrified to leave the woods lest they be captured and sold. Hearing that, Hiei merely nodded, then chuckled with money. "Everything's easy, nothing to worry about." Meanwhile, in KD City of the Duanyi Kingdom, two figures strode side by side toward the Grand Gate. Curious, Kiki asked what they were doing there. Hiei replied curtly, "Shopping." Kiki panicked, thinking he meant to buy gifts for her, quickly insisting her people were poor, but proud they would accept charity. Hiei laughed, "Who said it's free? Every coin has its purpose." Then he gestured toward the shop. "Let's get some clothes first." Then Hiei let her pick clothes while he stood aside, asking how they felt when tried on. Kiki turned, eyes glowing, "Good fabric, soft, and fairly priced." Instantly, Hiei shouted for the owner to sell the whole store at 30% off, leaving everyone stunned. The shopkeeper rushed out, delighted, offering 40% off for such a generous buyer. Hiei laughed loudly and accepted. Flustered, Kiki tried to stop him, saying it was wasteful, but Hiei just grinned. This was only the beginning. Money was no concern. Then he waved proudly, claiming he could buy the entire city if he wanted. Kiki sighed, "The light of the rich truly blinds." Soon the shopkeeper returned with a giant crate, smiling, everything packed and ready. Hiei nodded coolly, ordering payment on the spot. That day, KD City buzzed with gossip. People raved about the man who bought out an entire store, leaving warehouses empty. A month later, two figures walked quietly along a distant road. Kiki gasped. They'd cleared out 5 cities, nearly every shop in the kingdom. She asked suspiciously if he planned to overthrow the Duanyi demons. Hiei just frowned. How could he rebel against himself? Suddenly, Kiki ran up to thank him. Moved by wearing new clothes for the first time in years, Hiei smiled, saying it was merely a gift in return, then urged her onward. At that moment, Kiki tensed, eyes sharp, signaling to stop. Someone was tailing them. Lowering her voice, she confirmed it was Duanyi demons, at least 5 hiding nearby. Hiei calmly replied, "Indeed, 17 total, mostly mid-tier, trailing since the city." Kiki cried out in alarm, "So many! They must want your money, what do we do?" Hiei said coldly, "ZG is off on another mission with Yuan Lulu. If they attack, I'll gladly send them to hell." Meanwhile, the distant demons whispered, "Strike here and now." Guards wouldn't notice. They charged together, leader roaring, "Carve up that fat sheep!" But shrieks followed, traps exploded, blood sprayed, limbs flew, pain unbearable. Hiei and Kiki walked on calmly, not even glancing back. He smirked, thinking, just a few traps, hardly a real fight. Meanwhile, at the dark elf forest's edge, 2 female sentries stood guard, bored and distracted. Suddenly, they sniffed the air, eyes gleaming. The aroma of roasted meat drifted over, making their stomachs growl. One grumbled, "That's no insect stew, that's real meat. Outrageous, we must investigate," and they followed the scent. Ahead, Xiaogai sprinkled spices, smiling brightly. "Fresh demon beast meat, cheap and tasty, just hunted by me." The guards drew blades instantly, shouting, "What tribe are you from to sell food near royal lands? This smells an insult." Just then, Hiei stepped forward with a gentle smile, explaining they'd only set up at the forest's edge, no rule of the queen broken. One guard stammered, "It's true, no law forbids it," but accused them of luring the poor, demanding their true intent. Hiei chuckled softly, offering a steaming plate. "Just try it, completely free." The 2 guards exchanged looks, drooling slightly. Free food from a handsome man. Who could resist? Without hesitation, both guards grabbed huge chunks of meat, devouring them blissfully. After the first bite, tears welled up. They praised it as divine, realizing it'd been years since they'd tasted real meat. He cheerfully pointed behind him, where more roasted meat waited, telling them to eat as much as they wanted. The guards dove in, moaning with delight, saying even punishment would be worth it. Soon the table was bare. They collapsed, clutching their stomachs, groaning that they might die from fullness. He stroked his chin with a sly grin. He'd only said the taste test was free, not the meal, then warned coldly that rumors of freeloading would cause trouble. Horrified, the guards cried they'd gladly vomit it out to repay him. He sighed. Who asked you to puke? Smirking, he instructed them simply to spread word that this place sold fine food. Trading with Shadowwood, the forest had plenty of that, didn't it? The guards brightened. So it was trade, not provocation! Shadowwood was abundant. Swapping for meat was nothing. Everyone would love it. He smiled inwardly. The capital needed timber for rebuilding, and Shadowwood was priceless. A bit of cheap meat for rare wood, charity and profit in one. A brilliant scheme. Soon dark elf villagers poured in, each carrying bundles of wood, stopping about 2 hours' walk from the stall. They traded the lumber for sizzling skewers of demon beast meat smoking over crimson coals. Xiao Gai beamed, calling out, 1 log of Shadowwood for a pound of beast meat. Hunt more, trade more. The villagers ate their fill, cheering tearfully, it's delicious! We never thought we'd taste real meat. Thank you, Xiao Gai. Thank you, Lord Wu Ji. But once hunger faded, greed awoke. A woman eyed her tattered clothes, wishing for new ones. Her friend nodded eagerly. He seized the chance, shouting, anything you want, clothes of all styles and colors, trade Shadowwood for them. The dark elf women squealed, one giggling sweetly, Lord Wu Ji, I think I love you! The crowd surged, waving logs for new clothes. He was crushed amid them, yelling, calm down! Who just grabbed my butt? I sell goods, not myself. He turned to La Kiki for help. She only giggled behind her hand, teasing, endure it, my lord, they all adore you, secretly recalling how Shade once watched him sleep. Once clothing needs were met, the villagers clamored for more rusty weapons, daily goods, even wine. He instantly saw the chance, shouting, got it all! My rule, whatever you need, I supply! He announced new stalls, food, clothing, general goods, weapons, even a tavern, all tradable for Shadowwood. The dark elves cheered, hailing Lord Wu Ji as their savior, grateful they could finally drink real wine. Lipstick marks on his face, he raised a glass, smiling faintly, thinking, to please them, I've emptied 5 city stocks, soon she will notice. A month later, in the dark elf forest, the queen lay atop her dwelling, yawning lazily after a long sleep. She muttered, nearly 2 months of napping, but what can I do? The Duanyi demons sealed us in, leaving's impossible. She sighed even awake, there's nothing to do, maybe I really am turning into a sloth. Just then, an intoxicating aroma of roasted meat drifted in. The queen sat up in shock, sniffing. What's that smell? Quickly, go check! The 2 guards hurried in, faces rosy and figures round, clearly welfed, a far cry from before. The queen blinked in surprise, eyeing her plump subordinates. Gone a short while and you've fattened up. Where's that meat smell from? Did you hunt outside without fear of capture? The guards exchanged uneasy looks, stammering, no one hunted. The details are, complicated. After hearing everything, the queen muttered, Wu Ji, that name sounds familiar, but brushed it aside. First, deal with this matter. Her tone turned cold. Wu Ji, a Duanyi demon merchant, trading Shadowwood for goods. I ordered all outsiders slain on sight, yet you let him profit from our sacred treasure. 1 guard knelt, pleading, forgive us, my queen, he meant no harm. Thanks to him, our people live better. Hoarding wood helps no one, trading it brings life. The queen's face darkened, so even loyal guards had fallen under his sway. Smirking, she thought, our tribe hates outsiders, yet he dares trade here. He must have deeper motives. I'll see what game he plays. She turned sharply, commanding, bring him to me. I'll see this man myself. Soon, He and Lakiki were led into a vast hall where the queen sat regally upon her throne. He stepped forward, bowing calmly, inwardly smiling. Finally, his efforts had brought him before the one he sought. The queen's cheeks flushed at first sight. He was too handsome. Wait, why am I feeling fond of an outsider? She glanced around. Even her guards were blushing. She shut her eyes to steady herself, reasoning he must carry some charm artifact, then accused coldly, you've bewitched my people with relic magic, buying hearts through trade. Wu Ji, quite the schemer. He replied solemnly, indeed. I came not for profit, but to invite the dark elves to ally and destroy Duanyi and Misha Ji. The queen arched a brow skeptically. My tribe may be exiled from the 72 demon clans, yet we remain among the strongest. You're just a merchant, why should I trust you? Then, from behind Hiye, a shadowed figure appeared. He bowed, speaking low, because I am the demon king of Black Night. Hiye raised his head, his eyes glacial, kingly aura erupting, weighing down the chamber. The guards gasped, whispering in shock, Hez, the Black Knight King, the one who defeated the coalition of 71 demon clans! So Wu Ji was just his alias, it's really him! Lakiki froze, eyes wide. Hez the demon king, and I just a weakling, how could I ever dream of standing near him? The queen smiled faintly, voice low, so that's it. But don't be so bold, the Duanyi demons rank 21st, their might far exceeds your imagination. Her tone hardened. Not only are their core forces vast, their 11 demon lords alone inspire terror, and their ruler, Duanye Mai Sheji, could crush even a full-strength black might. Alliance or not, you can't win. Hiei frowned calmly. Who said anything about frontal war? Kill Mai Sheji, and the rest will fall. Your tribes fought them before. You're prepared. Together, we can dismantle them step by step. A blue vein throbbed on the queen's temple. She laughed coldly. Fine words? You think Mi Sheji is some pig waiting for slaughter? She thought courageous but reckless, disappointing. Then said icily, you're a beast with broken fangs, now pathetic and weak. Hiei froze, cursing. Damn it. She noticed my body's flaw. If this queen's that cautious, Alliance is doomed. The queen turned away coldly. Alliance ends here. Thanks for feeding my people, and left. Suddenly, a heavy boom shook the grand hall. Guards panicked, whispering, could the ancestral tree be displeased? Its tremors always meant divine orders. One pointed upward. Look. The queen frowned, commanding, halt everything. I must hear what the tree says. The hall buzzed so even the tree reacts. Makes sense, he did slay 3 demon lords, minor ones but still. Another voice trembled. My grandpa said, whenever it stirs, something big will hit the tribe. Hiei folded his arms, so the tree wasn't just a guardian spirit but a sentient power above the queen herself. The queen approached calmly. Hiei monarch, follow me. The tree wishes to see you. Shock rippled. What? The tree wants an outsider. Only queens ever meet it. Hiei wondered silently, does it want me for my title or some deeper reason? Then followed her. She glanced back. Don't expect me to reveal anything without permission. Hiei frowned. Did even ask yet. She added, relax, it's harmless, never hurt anyone. Hiei exhaled in relief. She halted, voice soft but firm. We're here. Before them stood a vast ancient tree. Birds, perched as an old face formed. I wish to speak with him alone. The queen bowed respectfully. As you command. The tree stirred gently, smiling. Yun Shen, at last we meet again. Hiei froze. You know my true name. Only if you ever did, how could it know? He thought fast. Aside from them, only Akma Hervo could see through me. Could it be? The tree laughed heartily. You guessed right. Kuwu mentioned you and asked me to help if possible. Hiei frowned. You say we've met, yet I remember nothing. The tree replied serenely, you were dying, then forgetting me is understandable. The ground stirred. Colorful saplings sprouted, radiating strange energy. Hiei gasped. Spirit tree, so you saved me. Then who attacked me and why? The tree's tone turned cold. You know who, it's just that you fear admitting it. Hiei fell silent, eyes dimming, breath heavy. Moments later he smirked. So it was the god. I lived because of you. You must be extraordinary. The tree said calmly, I saved you for Kuwa's sake, but I still doubt you're worthy to stand with us. If you want answers, first pass my trial. From the glowing saplings, a humanoid form appeared to feed him. The tree declared, and you may proceed. Hiei frowned. I'm not joining your side. Just discussing alliance! Im cursed. Can't even fight. How could I beat your clone? The tree rumbled angrily. Cursed by a god. Don't flatter yourself. Gods don't bother cursing mortals. That's your own self-imposed chain. He added coldly, what binds you isn't a curse but fear itself. Hiei stammered, fear. The tree nodded yes. Like mice to cats or sheep to wolves, all beings fear higher existences, humans, demons alike. When you faced the god, that instinct awoke, paralyzing you deep down. You fear his hand striking again. Hiei roared, you think I fear him? I've cheated death twice, what's left to fear? The tree replied coolly, that rage proves me right. Facing death, no fear, instinct can't be reasoned with. Enough talk, fight. Win, we alle lose, walk away. As he spoke, the clone lunged, slicing the air with deadly force. Hiei dodged narrowly. Damn, his serious, no mercy at all. He dashed in circles, stirring a thick storm of dust around them. While laying traps, the clone sneered, traps instead of combat. Pathetic. He stomped down. Boom. One trap exploded in fire and smoke. Stroking his beard, he smirked, that all. Didn't even scratch me, come on, show the rest. Suddenly, thorny vines shot out, binding the clone tight. He paused, amused. Oh, a plant-based summon? Clever, but not enough? Hiei grimaced. This clone's as strong as a demon lord, faster, tougher than me. He clenched his jaw. Can't attack directly. Xiaoji's too weak, need another way, but how? Xiaoji strained, tightening the thorn cords with all her might. Yet the clone merely exhaled, ripping them apart. A defective thorn spirit still matured. Someone raised you well. He growled, kid, you're unworthy. Step aside. Seeing the vines torn, Hiei shouted, ZJ, stop! Let go! She obeyed instantly, retracting the vines, gasping for air. Suddenly, a massive hand erupted behind Hiei, grabbing at him. In that instant, the divine flash skill triggered. His body vanished from reach. The clone murmured, teleportation divine grade, rare indeed. Hiei reappeared behind him, panting, that was close, good thing divine flash still works. He clenched his fist with seizing hand and divine flash. I can outpace a demon lord level clone, just need the right moment. But as he reactivated the skill, his body froze. Damn it, power limit again! The tree raised a calm hand. Your fear of the god lets you flee, not fight. Fail to overcome it, and you die. Countless roots spiraled from his arm, drilling toward Hiei. Behind him, Xiaoji screamed, don't hurt my master, and threw herself forward. But with a single wave, a violent gust hurled her away in a fiery blast. Hiei shouted in panic, ZG, his eyes blazing red, old man, you're dead! He gathered energy, unleashing the fusion skill Infernal Blaze Fist, detonating a massive explosion. Flames roared toward the clone, but it leapt onto the roots, dodging with ease. The clone muttered he attacked first. Impossible did he overcome his fear. Hai jumped high, twin blades spinning wind and flame merging into his ultimate move, Twin Tempest Blades. The blades sliced through the air, whistling like thunder. The clone found weird trajectory not aimed at me, yet unavoidable. A massive blast erupted behind him, smoke billowing. He looked around calmly, so he feigned an attack on me, but actually targeted the plants around us. He nodded still, it's not a true fight, I entered the range myself. He smirked, foolish self-deception won't help, then surged forward like lightning. Hai vanished instantly, voice echoing coldly, that's just what you think. The clone scowled, still mocking. A giant trunk burst from the ground, countless branches stabbing toward him. Hai twisted gracefully, dodging each strike by a hair's breadth. The clone questioned why not block with ice walls. Such weak blows don't merit space energy use. Hai replied flatly, defense is still combat. He cursed inwardly, damn, he saw through me. I could've used ice to counter that wider range strike. Now I can't defend, dodging drains energy, and Divine Flash eats too much power. It'll collapse if this drags on. Before he could think, a sharp branch shot from below, aimed straight at his chest just inches away. Hai panicked, damn it, I slipped! Can trigger Divine Flash in time! But a thorny vine wrapped his waist, yanking him aside. The branch missed, exploding into splinters. Hai scrambled up, stunned. Xiaoji, you're alive and barely hurt. She blinked, yeah, weirdly soft, something broke my fall. He glanced into the pit and saw a smooth, glowing piece of wood, realizing the tree's clone had cushioned her merciful even in battle. Then it hit him, this wasn't a death duel, but a trial. The elf queen's warning echoed, the tree is fearsome, but never cruel. From the tree's tone, he finally grasped that the true enemy of him and Shu Wu was the god himself, and to stand in that war, he must conquer the primal fear born of divine pressure. Hai reflected instinct was nature's gift, keeping all life alive, like prey fleeing predators. As the tree said, fear had chained him, he hid it behind excuses of a divine curse, until the tree forced him to face it. Ironically, that fear kept him from fighting back, terrified the god would notice and crush him, even if he no longer feared death. Thus the god grew arrogant, despising all beings, his gaze alone enough to shatter wills, like darkness devouring light. That fear carved into his blood, tormenting him nightly for months. He lived behind a fake shell, half-mad, even pondering death. Hai clutched his head, screaming, how do I break these invisible chains? While Guy trembled, whispering, master. Suddenly, he realized the only escape from fearing the god was to grow stronger, to fight back like humans once defied beasts. Yet he despaired, if he couldn't fight, how could he grow? Even Shu Wu and the tree hadn't defeated the god, hence their search for allies. And still, they never trembled. How could some truly not fear the god? He wondered, lowering his head. At that moment, the tree's clone froze, eyes glowing. He seemed to sense Hai's revelation. But then he roared in fury, hurling branches, fool, you know I bear no killing intent, yet you abandon resistance, think that's liberation. Countless sharp branches shot forth like a storm, but Hai stood unmoving, letting pain engulf him. His body stiffened, eyes hollow, his soul slipping into a death-like void. The clone raged, launching more spikes, no resistance, no dodge! You think I won't kill you? The thorns halted inches from Hai's face, gleaming coldly. He still didn't flinch. The tree blinked in shock, something was off. Hai's aura shifted, neither demonic nor human. It was death energy, dense, chilling, far beyond any corpse's decay, swirling violently around him. Then Guy burst into tears, leaping forward, stop hurting my master! Behind her, Hai lowered his head, face darkened, breath cold and heavy. The clone shouted in alarm, not good, kid, move! Then even he sprang forward, rushing toward Hai. Just before his fist struck Guy, a bark-made shield sprouted from the tree, blocking the hit for a heartbeat. The defense barely held, then power exploded, shaking the air violently. A thunderous blast followed, branches recoiled, whipping in all directions. The girl trembled, tears streaming, crying out in despair. Master! The clone roared, hurling the whole trunk. Has gone too far, feeling the girl's desperate love. Yet the colossal trunk shattered in Hai's grip, crumbling like dry twigs. He dashed forward, eyes blazing red, madness etched across his face. The tree retaliated with a storm of branches, lashing down like a forest tempest. Hai weaved through them, tearing apart each strike, leaving space itself scarred. He laughed maniacally, steps blurring faster, the distance between them shrank to mere inches. The clone gasped, that speed beyond anything I've seen! Hai's punch thundered, sending the clone crashing, earth cracking beneath the blow. The tree rose slowly, thinking his conquered fear, but in a perilous, twisted way. After agony and self-deceit shattered his pride, he cast everything away, unleashing death energy, a power only those near death can touch. Now he was no longer alive, but something between life and death, his aura devouring breath itself, a temporary immortal. This method was dangerous beyond even the explosive potential the tree once saw in H&O. Hai roared with manic glee, striking a palm that blew the tree's clone's head into fragments. Then, he stood still amid the wreckage, breath thick with freezing death energy. The tree smiled faintly. Still have strength to strike. Seems I underestimated you. The ground quaked. 3 massive roots rose, forming giant clones radiating killing intent. Hai squinted, watching the towering figures advance, slow but terrifying. Meanwhile, Zigai crouched in a corner, sobbing. Master, hit me, I'm scared. One giant clone roared, swinging an arm as huge as a mountain toward him. But Hai's eyes shone coldly, utterly fearless. He lunged, punching out an explosion that sent the giant clone flying with thunderous impact. The tree watched, frowning in shock. This strength far surpassed before, and he wasn't stopping. Thankfully, those clones still carried his life essence. Their wounds would heal. Yet new Trant giants emerged, screaming as they surrounded Hai tightly. Hai bent low, then leapt. His power cracked the earth, flinging the Trents aside. He landed atop one's head. The ground roared beneath him. Then he slashed down, tearing the massive body apart like paper. But in a split second of distraction, another Trent grabbed him, locking him tight. The tree stood still, forehead sigil glowing, chanting ancient words. Hundreds of vines burst from the ground, coiling around Hai like divine serpents. The tree said coldly, now you are my puppet. As the vines tightened, he nodded, confirming the seal had fully bound Hai's aura. In agonizing pain, Hai roared, his scream fused with death energy, shaking the forest. The tree raised a glowing seal. Once I bind you, this ends, light weaving into sacred restraints. Suddenly, Hai's body flared crimson like blood, startling the tree. He roared, tearing apart the vines, murderous aura surging. His eyes froze the tree mid-breath. In shock, the tree realized this was the power of eternal corruption origin, the true gift from Shu Wu. He turned to Xiao Gai, voice grave, I can't use more power, or hell sense me. Only you, plant-born like me, can take my energy. He extended a hand, emerald light blooming. This is the world's nectar. Absorb it, evolve, and save your master. Without hesitation, Xiao Gai swallowed the glowing drop. Her body reacted instantly, light enveloping her like a cocoon, weaving new life. Meanwhile, Hai raged wildly. The tree struggled to restrain him. Faster. Xiao Gai, hurry! Inside the cocoon, her form transformed, dark eyes opening, power radiating fiercely. As she emerged, she shot toward Hai. The tree shouted, restrain him. Now! Xiao Gai unleashed thousands of vines, wrapping Hai within a massive cocoon. She clutched his body, tears streaming. Master, wake up! She cried, enduring his violent struggle, her body trembling through the pain. The tree panicked, forming seals while thinking the corrupt origin is consuming him. Hold on a bit longer. Ill act. Almost there, Xiao Gai muttered, blood on her lips, forcing herself to breathe. I can take it, she told herself. Then, the tree thrust his palm, shattering the cocoon. A surge of light shot toward Hai. He frowned. This state lies between life and death. Save or destroy, it's a single choice. Gazing at him, the tree sighed, I'll save you, and poured his life force in, fully aware of the risk. He chanted the origin of life, water, fire, earth, wood, the roots of creation, yet destruction keeps balance. The origin of death bears decay, disease, and ruin, maintaining the world's endless cycle. The tree realized the eternal corrupt origin was the strongest of destruction, gifted by Shu Wu for when he matured. But now Hai awakened it too soon. His eyes bloodred, aura chaotic, alarming the tree. Let me suppress it, he said, but Hai's body blazed gold, energy erupting violently. Within that light, his face turned cold, emotionless, a demonic mask emerging. When the quake settled, Hai, or rather Yun Shen, lay still on the ground, while Xiao Gai knelt beside him, sobbing. The scene was silent yet solemn, a portrait of absolute loyalty. After the chaos, the tree sighed, at least the outcome's acceptable. Shu Wu once suspect, you've surpassed instinct worthy to face the god. He smiled, from now on, you're one of us. Yun Shen opened his eyes, asking slowly, how many allies remain? Many, the tree replied, all as strong as me. Yun Shen spoke gravely. The tree nodded, though the trial's end is the same. Your path differed so extreme none could mimic. The goal was to erase self, reach the realm of no ego, cleansing the fear of the god. Most allies succeeded that way. But you chose another, self-annihilation, dangling between life and death, severing mortal limits. That method never existed without understanding death. No one could touch that boundary. The tree gazed at Yun Shen. With your current state, I'd swear you already died once. Yun Shen replied quietly, almost. I've died twice, and the sealing energy here, this eternal corrupt origin, caused my loss of control. Why would Shu Wu do that? He asked. The tree answered, to fight the god, more power means more hope, and if I refuse, impossible, the tree snapped, unless you wish to rest in a coffin with the others. Yun Shen stiffened. Others? What's inside those coffins? The tree's gaze turned cold. Those like you, predecessors who fell. He continued, conquering fear is only the start. The road to defeat the god is far, for his power defies reason. How strong is he? Yun Shen asked. The tree replied, the god speaks only through sacrifice, never directly acts. This world's too fragile, even his slightest move could annihilate it. He pointed afar. That forbidden mountain is proof. Demons call it a divine miracle, but it was merely when he tossed a stone, turning thousands of miles into wasteland. Yun Shen said darkly, how can we ever defeat such a foe? The tree answered, we have no choice, for when the two worlds decide victory or ruin, that will be The apocalypse? The tree finished, then a scream rang out behind, making Yun Shen whirl around. It was Xiao Gai, her body shifting back into her demonic form. The tree warned. Her mana is insufficient, that form won't last. Yun Shen knelt, gently patting her head. Thank you. Rest now, Xiao Gai. Yes, she whispered, while he turned to the tree. You didn't just save her. You and Shu Wu saved me from the god. You're no mere tree. The tree smiled in the forest's gloom. True. Ancestral tree is only a shell. I am a shadow elf, creation of the god in darkness. Yun Shen's tone sharpened. World trees can birth new realms, linking worlds. But if all were made by the god, how dare you, his creation, defy him? Sorrow flickered on the ancient face. Yes, I was made by him, but my mission is to guard worlds. He sought to cage them, make me his tool. Thanks to Shu Wu, I broke free to fulfill my will. Then what is Shu Wu? Shen asked. Don't ask, the tree replied gravely. Only he can speak his truth. He chose you not just for potential but because you're human. There are two gods, he continued, one ruling the human realm, one the dark. Their war is the clash of these worlds. Sacrifices are mere pawns, you and all beings, pieces on their board. Thus, our true enemy isn't one god but the combined power of both realms. The tree's voice deepened. The dark world has Shu Wu to guide it, but the human realm lacks such a hidden counterbalance. Yun Shen objected. You overestimate me. Shu Wu can crush worlds. I'm nothing compared to him. You have his potential, the tree said sternly. He gave you the eternal corrupt origin. I shall grant you the heart of the world tree. Use it to advance. Yun Shen hesitated. If you give me that heart, what will happen to you? It's fine, the tree whispered. I've awaited this moment long enough. He added calmly, the heart is vital, but I can be reborn. I won't force you. Your choice alone matters, and time is short. Yun Shen grasped the heart of the world tree, unease rising. The closer he came to truth, the smaller he felt and hungrier for power. I need more, stronger than ever, he said, pulling out a glowing relic. I found this, it seems bound to the soul. The tree examined it, eyes glinting. Its structure mirrors my own, a shard of humanity's world tree, an exceedingly rare remnant. By fate it reached you, he continued. It's weak now, but I can evolve it, restore its true form. With a sweep of his hand, the branch shone brightly. This weapon, world tree branch, legendary grade, strength, intellect, and body each 1000. When wielded, attacks turn invisible, pierce defense, and strike the soul's core. Yun Shen smiled, gripping it. Incredible. That's just secondary, the tree said. This weapon guides you to understand the nature of sacrifice. When performing a grand ritual, bring it, you'll see the truth. But beware, don't let the god notice. Avoid his gaze, he never spares a glance for an ant that bows. Yun Shen nodded, understood. And the heart of the world tree, how do I use it? Fuse it with the proper blueprint, the tree explained. It's the key to forging the armor of the human realm. Yun Shen frowned. The world tree of humanity was still under the god's control. Would it even hand over its heart? Zhu Shu shook its head. No, it won't, and killing it means destroying the human realm. Think carefully when you return. He added, the real danger now is the evil origin energy within you. Unlike normal essence, it grows stronger the more you fight, breaking the seal faster. The only way to survive is to devour it before it devours you. Yun Shen was startled. Devour the 10,000 calamity evil origin. He trembled. Zhu Shu's tone turned stern. Yes, and I also sense a hidden demonic imprint, though well concealed. I can erase it if you wish. Yun Shen shook his head. No need, it's still useful. As long as the Dark Elf Queen agrees to ally, he thought. Truly worthy of the world tree, nothing escapes its gaze. Zhu Shu nodded. You've passed the trial. The Dark Elf Queen will know what to do. I am but a guide, not a fighter. Yun Shen bowed in gratitude. Thank you, Zhu Shu. Then he turned away, eyes distant. Next comes the fateful battle with Ye Jizi Qi. After returning, Yun Shen and the Dark Elf Queen sat together discussing alliance and air, both intimate and calculating. She tasted her food, teasing. You've regained your power. Not bad, secretly savoring the flavor. She thought, how long since I last tasted this? I almost want to hug him. But she quickly turned serious. Still, to defeat Ye Jizi Qi, that strength won't be enough. Yun Shen calmly replied, I have a war fortress, rebuilt from a mobile palace with hundreds of cannons, thousands of weapons, and the strongest demon lord of the Dark Knight clan. As for the Thorn Queen, her power lies between Demon Sovereign and Demon Lord. The queen twirled her blade, smiling. Sounds nice, but I want to see that fortress myself. Such strength still lacks a true spark. Her tone hardened. Ye Jizi Qi is one of the 72 demon lords. What you described, even with me, can only stall him. To slay him needs decisive power. Yun Shen smirked. What if I add these 3 things? His voice hinted at his trump card. He laid 3 strange artifacts on the table, each radiating unique energy, resonating together. The queen laughed in surprise. Ah, so that's it. Alone they're ordinary, but combined strategically, they can create miracles. Yun Shen countered. That's my part of the deal. What about yours? She sipped her juice. All my elite warriors will join, plus 3 avatars of Zhu Shu I've requested aid from. She continued. You know the real body of Zhu Shu. The world tree can't move, but its roots spread across the dark realm, each able to form a demon sovereign level avatar. Lowering her voice, many dark elves enslaved by Ye Jizi Qi aren't truly loyal. They're my hidden spies awaiting the moment. Meanwhile, in the Chinky Mountains, false demons hauled massive coffins, grumbling dragging corpses daily sucks. When's it over? One said when all coffins open. Lord Kata follows Yejizuki's orders. Another sneered Hez flattering too much might end up with just a corpse. Under the pale moonlight, Kata's chilling laughter split the silence. Ha ha ha. So that's how it is. He inhaled deeply, eyes gleaming with satisfaction finally. He understood the secret here. No wonder it's called the Godfall Mountains. Awakening this power could shake the entire dark realm. Kata set the log down, grinning wickedly. This hidden power is terrifying. If Yejizuki taps into it, our clan could rank top 5, maybe even top 3 among the 7 Taitu demon tribes. A vision of Yejizuki lying weak yet majestic crossed his mind. Kata sneered, such a great feat. I wonder what reward awaits me. Even if I ask too much, it should be fine. Heh. Without delay, he barked him, returning to the royal city. You lot, keep the pace, no interruptions. Yes, Lord Kata! Meanwhile, far away, dark elf priests knelt around a glowing orb, chanting, O Almighty One, we are ready to follow your divine will. Guide us, that we may offer you our utmost devotion. Their trembling voices echoed in the dim hall. Ryuling pressed her lips, cold eyes flashing. So, the so-called divine oracle begins again. After long infiltrating the decent organization of the dark realm, she knew the pattern. The god delivered decrees through the orb on schedule. Each time, items and rewards appeared, but her investigation revealed the orb was merely a portal linked to the Holy Empire, where false gods manipulated the dark realm. Oddly, many divine missions seemed pointless, offering no real benefit to believers. It was as if all their efforts served someone else entirely who was truly behind this god. Just then, the orb flickered, bursting with dazzling white light. From the radiance, a massive axe slowly emerged, trembling in the receiver's hands. Princess Lucini stepped forward, seizing the axe proudly. The oracle holds 2 decrees. First, enter the dark elf forest and defeat the world tree. The crowd gasped. What? The world tree? Isn't that the legendary Zushu? Even Yejizuki couldn't subdue it, how could we? Lucini smiled, a hint of venom. Yejizuki failed, but that doesn't mean I will. Raising the axe, cold light gleamed. This is a weapon granted by God. Before it, the world tree is but rotting wood. The followers murmured nervously, but the dark elves won't stay silent. Their queen once defeated the 67th demon lord. Were her race stronger, she'd be among the 7 Taito. Lucini laughed, eyes arrogant. No matter. I'll contact the Pope and summon the Holy Cross archers against them. Dark elves are nothing. The crowd erupted. The Holy Cross archers, the mightiest force, the ones who erased a demon nation. A true holy war begins! Hearing that, Ryuling felt a chill. Why is the Holy Empire targeting the world tree? The 2 worlds are unrelated. Such decrees always hide another purpose. Feigning calm, she asked, and what's the second decree? Lucini smirked, annihilate the dark pseudo-demon kingdom and slay the dark pseudo-king. As she spoke, Lucini licked her lips, eyes glowing with madness, hunger like a beast smelling blood. Ryuling's heart tightened at the sight, but she bowed, pretending obedience, silent and cautious. She murmured, Your Grace, this mission may be long before it begins. I hope you'll keep your promise. Lucini smiled, fingertip brushing Ryuling's chin, voice dripping with tease. Such an impatient little cat, how adorable. She chuckled softly. There's still time for me to return that affection. Now then, let's begin our little date. By the silver stream, Lo Ryuling and Princess Lucini walked side by side, the air calm but tense. Then Ryuling probed about the 2 divine decrees. Lucini replied confidently, shed crush all obstacles with the Holy Cross archers. Suddenly, she grasped Ling's hand, gaze honey sweet, urging her to forget duty, treat this as a rare date, and call her by a closer name. Lucini spoke gently, every hardship you've endured, I've seen. Whatever Ling desires, I won't refuse. Ryuling frowned, eyes wary. Would that include desires beyond the limit? Lucini smiled, stroking her hand, voice tender yet loaded. Whatever they are, I'll accept. Before she finished, Ryuling tightened her grip, aura shifting cold and deadly. Her eyes glinted. Then, what if I command you to kneel and lick my feet? Lucini froze, face twisting in shock. She frowned, forcing pride. That joke's unacceptable, though other things, perhaps, are negotiable. Ryuling laughed, pulling off her veil to reveal an icy face. This isn't a joke, but judgment on a true disgrace. The princess gasped in horror, mind racing. Why was Ryuling here in this dark world? Ryuling's tone was cold, spiritual power flaring. I was forced here too, and your ignorance proves the Holy Empire is fracturing. Lucini unfurled her radiant wings, eyes defiant. So, you planned this meeting from the start? She sneered. I've completed my 3rd metamorphosis. Whoever you are, you'll kneel before me. With that, she transformed, Triffy's form bursting with overwhelming power. Ryuling smirked. Just as I thought, you've long conspired with the dark realm. Lucini lunged, shouting her spell Lightfall Descent, brilliance flooding the sky. Ryuling dodged repeatedly yet took a heavy hit, body staggering. Lucini laughed triumphantly. For power? I even betrayed my homeland. No one can stop me now. Thinking Ling defeated, she gasped as the woman reemerged from the fading light, stronger than ever. Behind Ling appeared a 7-tailed, 5-colored holy beast. Lucini froze, terrified beyond words. She stammered, impossible. How can a dual-stage mage wield such insane power? Could it be you've also? Ryu Ling smiled slyly. All these years serving and scheming, I've gathered enough to complete my own third metamorphosis. Then she smirked the spools. I always keep the finest for myself, the rest is trash, and unleashed the triple shift spirit fox guardian domain. The force made Lucini reel. She screamed in fury, charging madly, you wretch! You deserve obliteration! But every strike failed. Ryu Ling roared, summoning the Yang-Eye demon suppressing pillar, her aura crushing and absolute. Lucini stared wide-eyed, muttering in panic, how is the seal broken? What on earth is that power? Under the flashing yin-yang light, Ryu Ling smirked. This wasn't normal wood essence, but a fusion type that amplified every other power. At once her yang flame tail ignited, forming a massive crimson fire orb in midair. That orb, called Scarlet Sun Heaven, radiated light so fierce it drained the dark energy from Lucina's body. She panicked, realizing her wings were burning, unable to withstand the blazing heat. Lucini spun around and fled at full power, leaving a streak of light across the sky. But Ryu Ling wouldn't let her go. She cast a sigil, summoning yin water to seal the escape. Instantly, black waves roared up like a storm, swallowing Lucini amid thundering cries. Though she struggled madly, her wings were crushed by the torrent, unable to lift again. Ryu Ling clasped her hands, chanting as twin yin-yang fish appeared, murmuring, where there is water, there are fish, fused the twin spirits. The two giant fish intertwined and shot toward Lucini, forming a raging vortex. With one collision, all demonic power drained from Lucina's body. She collapsed, limp and powerless. Lying flat, Lucini gasped, admitting she had underestimated Ryu Ling. Her strength far exceeded expectation. She gave a hopeless laugh. If Ling truly wishes, I'll surrender everything, even this body. The twisted words made Ryu Ling freeze, thinking, so this lunatic's even crazier than I thought. Meanwhile, Yun Shen and the Elf Queen launched their alliance plan. Once preparations were done, the Queen spoke firmly. Yun Shen nodded and activated the sigil, summoning Duanye Jiziki, his aura flooding the space. He muttered, let's hope Duanye Jiziki won't disappoint. Maybe they'll use this sigil to lure and destroy the enemy. At the same time, in Duanze Royal City, Ye Jiziki returned after half a year of war, seeking battle updates. Her subordinate reported gloomily the campaign fared poorly because the commander's weakness cost them the human conquest. She wondered why that once proud leader suddenly withdrew troops and secluded herself, avoiding all councils. Thinking so, she asked about domestic affairs, and heard that aside from Boila Di's death, things remained stable. Hearing that, Ye Jiziki slammed the table, snarling that 7 demon clans together couldn't take one human outpost. Pathetic! Yet despite her fury, she coldly declared, my subordinate's answer, only to me the Dark Knight Legion is mine to handle. But then her face shifted. She sensed something unusual. All her troops shuddered too. It was the mark of Soul Chase seal, a rarity once seen only on Yun Shen. Ye Jiziki immediately commanded, voice sharp, east border, 100 miles, no need to confirm, the target's obvious. She then ordered solemnly, Sula, bring me his head, the reward will be generous. The two glanced nervously, warning that if the target was truly the Dark Knight King, survival would be doubtful. Ye Jiziki just smirked coldly, that's merely a pretext for war, no human could ever wield dark demonic power. Hearing that, the pair grinned wickedly, killing a 3-phase human mage. That's like cutting grass with an axe! Meanwhile, Yun Shen sat calmly, as if he'd foreseen everything. A faint breeze brushed his neck, an omen that the enemy was near. Then 2 demon sovereigns of Duanyai appeared, their dark aura filling the air. Seeing Yun Shen, they laughed mockingly, just a pitiful human caught in Ye Jiziki's wrath. Yun Shen only smirked, should I call it her good luck or your misfortune? At that moment, the dark elf queen stepped from the shadows, her voice cold and sardonic. She said perhaps both were true, then laid a hand on their shoulders, making the 2 demons tremble in terror. They turned in horror. It was truly the dark elf queen herself. But before they could react, the ground quaked violently, a colossal power awakening below. From the depths rose 3 avatars of Zhu Shu, each demon sovereign level, roaring with fury. At the same time, Yun Shen's mobile war fortress activated, and the familiar voices of Xiao Wu and Xiao Ling rang out. Stop whining, Xiao Wu grumbled. Just summoning this beast nearly drained the Dark Knight King's mana stones. The 2 demons froze, stammering, has really the Dark Knight King? A war fortress, 3 demon sovereign avatars, and the Dark Elf Queen. This was clearly a strike force meant for Ye Jiziki, not them. They gave a shaky laugh, killing chickens with an ox cleaver, and this time the chickens were them. Yun Shen said coolly, perfect timing, I was just about to test the fortress' true firepower. Instantly, countless energy beams fired, erasing the 2 demons within seconds, nothing left but empty sky. Minutes later, Yun Shen recalled the fortress, nodding, power stable, mana cost lower than expected, not a bad investment. He mused, at full output, this could make the 70 demon pillars tremble, truly worth carrying as a modified mobile palace. The Dark Elf Queen stepped forward, praising its greater value lies in sustaining life with enough supplies. It could feed an army. Xiao Wu and Xiao Ling agreed the interior's vast enough for a giant, but regretted that their trap for Ye Jiziki had failed. The queen frowned. It's strange, the entire Douanier army believes the Dark Night King is human, and even the elves in the royal city heard the same, yet only 2 demon sovereigns were sent. Yunshen pondered, likely just a war pretext. Even Ye Ki doesn't truly believe it. Now that she's delayed, we'll exploit her slow response and move to plan B. Meanwhile, in Douanier Royal City, Ye Ki sat on her throne, irritation rising. She wondered, with such fast teleport arrays, why is there still no report? The unease in her chest deepened. Just then, a subordinate burst in, breathless and trembling. "My lady! Both east and west borders are under assault by Dark Knight forces and Dark Elves. The enemy's too strong, our local lords can't hold." Though startled, Ye Ki remained composed. Was this coincidence or collusion? Then swiftly ordered her troops split to reinforce both fronts. The 2 subordinates obeyed instantly, vanishing like gusts of wind. Alone, Ye Ki frowned, a chaotic feeling rising. Everything seemed to revolve around her, and the soul chase seal was drawing closer. Suddenly, cracks split beneath her feet, spiderwebbing across the stone floor. She looked down, smirking coldly. So, the uninvited guest arrives. The ground exploded, dust surging upward as the entire palace shook. From above, Yun Shen descended through the smoke. "First meeting, Duan Yi Ki. Since you won't come to die, I came myself." She narrowed her eyes, wary. "So, you really are the Dark Night King." Yun Shen smiled. "It's destiny today, Douanier changes rulers." 2 months earlier, the Dark Elf Queen had asked wasn't using the Soul Chase seal as bait too risky. What if it failed? Yun Shen had replied firmly, "If it fails, we strike head, but to do that, we need intel from Dark Elf slaves hidden within Douanwai." The queen nodded. "The true goal is to eliminate the command center. Open war only brings annihilation." On that, they agreed completely. Her eyes sharp, she revealed years of preparation. Douanier still held 10 demon sovereigns, 3 on the human front, 7 guarding the great cities and the capital. She continued, "In the royal city there are 7 demon lords, 300 upper demons, 9,000 mid-rank, and nearly 180,000 lower demons, plus an immense arsenal and tightly guarded teleport system." Hearing this, Yun Shen was shocked. Aren't Dark Elves mere slaves? How could they access such secrets? The queen smiled mysteriously. "Many demon nobles fancy Dark Elf beauty, taking them as concubines. Through pillow talk, secrets flow easily." Her tone hardened. "The plan: lure 4 demon sovereigns out, infiltrate, destroy the teleportation array, block reinforcements, then annihilate Ye Ki." Yun Shen calculated. A border offensive will draw the sovereigns away, but infiltration remains tricky. The queen suggested using the war fortress as a mobile bunker. Release troops when near. He frowned. "The soul chase seal still lingers. Ye Ki will sense me instantly." The queen nodded. "Zhu Shu can open an underground path to mask your aura." On the day of battle, after the ambush failed, the queen addressed the army grimly. "This is a Doherty fight. Failure means death for all." Yun Shen downed a vial of enhancer, energy surging through him as demonic power flooded his veins. Crushing the bottle, his eyes burned. "Move out." Zhu Shu's roots opened a tunnel, carrying both beneath the earth toward the target. On the surface, the royal city bustled until cracks began splitting the streets. From those fissures, massive roots rose, twisting like living creatures. The crowd panicked, shouting, "Stone can't grow roots! Something's wrong!" Then, before their eyes, Yun Shen raised his hand, summoning the war fortress. An enormous metallic mass emerging from the ground, leaving all frozen in awe. The fortress swelled by the second, mana light blazing as citizens screamed, sounding the alarm of invasion. Chaos consumed the royal city. Footsteps thundered, cries for help echoed everywhere. Inside the control chamber, Xiaowu gritted her teeth, slamming the fire command. Instantly, hundreds of energy beams launched, blanketing the sky, obliterating every teleportation array. The first strike of the final war. Yun Shen and the queen shifted to phase 2, flying straight toward the city's heart. Hovering midair, his deep voice boomed across the capital. "All teleport gates are gone. No one can save you now, Duan Ye Ki." On the other side, Ye Ki rested her hand on the throne arm, face icy, utterly unfazed. Then she burst into manic laughter, tears glistening. "Save me. Destroy me. To crush insects like you, I need no help." Before her words faded, 2 avatars of Zhu Shu burst from behind, striking her fiercely. Yet her expression didn't change. She merely raised one hand, demonic energy swirling in her palm. To a demon lord like her, even hundreds of demon sovereigns were mere fragile puppets, dust before the storm. As expected, the 2 avatars shattered instantly, dissolving into smoke and ash. Ye Ki sneered. "Rotten wood, thinking it could be my support. Pathetic." But as the ash fell, it began to twitch, making her frown in surprise. From the dust, countless roots turned into black serpents, slithering around her, controlled by Xiao Gai, now in Thorn Queen form. Still, they couldn't harm her. Ye Ki merely glanced. How boring. In truth, the attack was just a distraction for the Elf Queen to complete her summoning array. The air froze, cracking ice echoed as a frost arrow of immense power awakened. The queen smiled challengingly. "Long time no see. I hope this time you won't get bored." Ye Ki stiffened, eyes flashing with alarm. "You..." The queen loosed her bowstring. A glowing blue arrow tore through the air toward Ye Ki. At the same time, Yun Shen cast Falling Star Tide, starlight raining down to support her. The two attacks merged into one blinding beam racing toward Yi Jizi, who stood motionless, terrifyingly calm. The collision erupted in a world-shaking blast. Energy surged skyward, shaking the entire city, but slaying a demon lord was never simple. Outside, citizens screamed the palace had exploded, calling desperately for demon sovereign reinforcements. Yet the teleport network was gone as panic rose. Yi Jizi's commanding voice echoed through the city, steadying the masses. The war has begun. Handle the lesser foes yourselves, she ordered coldly. Then, lifting her head, a contemptuous smile spread. As for the insects daring to strike me, I'll crush them personally. The queen laughed. Insects? Still as arrogant as ever! Then unleashed Shadow Origin Phantom Blade, slashing forward. Yi Jizi cloaked herself in destruction-scale armor, meeting the strike amid a storm of mana. Fighting back, she mocked, call me arrogant if you wish, but don't forget, you've already lost to me once. The clash raged fiercely, power evenly matched until Yun Shen joined in, striking hard, but even with Demon Face Veil and Soul-Stealing Claw, he couldn't make her retreat. Sai Shaji dodges lightly, mocking, you think those few can change the game. She sneers, bursts forward shouting, you'll never catch me! Yun Shen grits his teeth, but before he can act, she vanishes with echoing laughter. Suddenly, Xiao Gai appears behind her, unleashing Floral Thorn Burst, a giant bloom wrapping around Shi Shaji. The twin bloom of Ku Kud opens wide, trying to swallow her amid the inferno, but Xiao Gai's Demon Lord power falls short. Shi Shaji crushes the petals effortlessly. Before she can mock, she sees countless seeds sprouting new flowers. It's the parasitic mutation bloom. Seconds later, countless Xiao Gai swarm and detonate, rocking the sky. The explosion hits hard. Shi Shaji, unguarded, is burned and shaken. She roars in fury, eyes blazing red, you filthy pests, I'll crush you all! She conjures a black sword and thrusts toward Xiao Gai to finish it in one strike. But three clones of Zhu Shu intercept, blocking the attack. The blade pierces them, but Xiao Gai survives thanks to their sacrifice. She trembles, whispering thanks, still catching her breath. Then the elf queen charges in, voice sharp, how does it feel, being bitten by your own worms? Sai Shaji parries, smirking, clones, pests, and you're the spearhead. Annoying. But where's that other guy? She doesn't know Yun Shen is the real strategist, merging blazing demon sword with tiger assault fist. Flames surge as Yun Shen roars, your life mine to take! Sai Shaji tilts her head, smiling, interesting. Let's play then. Their fists collide, thunder cracking, yet Shi Shaji still holds back. She toys with him, dodging easily as Yun Shen punches like a storm. Again, she mocks while deflecting 5 blows, arrogance dripping. Good effort for scratching me but killing me. Dream on. Suddenly, she stops laughing, game's over, die, and strikes to kill. The Dark Elf Queen appears, blocking the blow. You cannot. Zuxia's clones rush in, forming a barrier of demonic energy. Behind them, Xiao Gai fires seeds, shouting, no one harms my master! The seeds sprout into monstrous florifians, bomb bugs, lamp horses, flesh crawlers, and bewitching beans. 6 forces strike at once, shielding Yun Shen in a fiery storm. The sight makes Shi Shaji pause, defending while reassessing the battle. Wait, she frowns, the strongest is clearly the Dark Elf Queen. Why protect Yun Shen? Is he the real core? While she hesitates, Yun Shen closes in and delivers a full-power demonic punch. The hit lands. Sai Shaji grimaces, hot pain. That flame isn't it the nether demon fire of Hai Yan and Zun. But it's changed! A flash of realization, she panics. That brat's using me to grasp the power of origin. She now sees Yun Shen, growing stronger with every strike, his aura shifting as his origin force nears completion. For any being, human or demon, touching origin force means stepping into 4th transition, ascending as a demon lord atop the world. To master it fully is to become one of the 72 demon pillars, or even surpass them to the rank of divine general. The quickest path, sensing it in a left or death duel. Yun Shen thinks, with the queen and Xiao Gai shielding me, I can go all out, feel every thread of her origin, just a bit more, and I'll grasp the blazing origin force of the flame demon lord. Meanwhile, Satyr frets, the tide turns worse. If Yun Shen gains origin power and allies with the queen, 2 true demon lords will rise. Yet she risks it, gathering energy for a strike straight at Yun Shen to break the stalemate. But Xiao Gai deflects it, Satyr snarls, too well guarded, still can't touch him. Their perfect coordination feels almost fated. She grits her teeth, cursing inwardly. Suddenly, screams echo from outside. Disaster approaches. The war fortress rains destruction upon the Demon King's city, killing intent erupting uncontrollably. She rages, cursing her useless troops, ordering them to ready the war weapons and blast that hunk of iron apart. But a terrified soldier reports the Dark Elf slaves have rebelled. The arsenal is destroyed. She freezes, then roars in fury. Realizing the long-laid trap, she curses and lunges at the queen only to find her foe anything but simple. The queen counters with calm disdain, mocking such rage as childish tantrum. She reminds her of the Dark Elves' centuries of torment. Destroying the armory is nothing compared to the blood and shame endured. Instantly, the queen swings her sword, power erupts, slamming Satyr to the ground in a blink. The tide turns. Satyr is cornered, her dominance crumbling. Inside the fortress, Xiaoyu cheers the dense enemy lines flattened, foes scattered, cleanup beginning. Moments later, tens of thousands surge forth, dark elves and shadow demon legions clashing against the Nightbreak demons. The battle peaks, only screams remain, firepower overwhelms, reinforcements fail, the Demon King's city teeters on collapse. Hearing this, Satyr seethes, cursing her worthless subordinates for losing the war. Then Yun Shen and the Queen strike together, taunting, split focus like that, and you'll die for sure. Suddenly, Satyr turns to stone, laughing coldly, declaring it's time to annihilate everything herself. In an instant, a colossal lightning bolt crashes from the heavens onto her position. Yun Shen gasps as the world's colors shift, the surrounding laws trembling violently. The sky darkens, a towering stone demon idol of oblivion manifests, mountain-sized and dreadful. From above, her voice booms like thunder, proclaiming herself the supreme sovereign, wielder of worldly origin, demanding all kneel. At once, the Nightbreak army drops to their knees, chanting Shi Shaji, begging her to destroy the invaders and defend their king's city. The oath to defend the Demon King's city echoes, devotion and worship peaking to frenzy. But as the chant ends, endless thunder crashes down, obliterating many of Yun Shen's forces. The sudden lightning storm shocks everyone. No one knows who's dead or alive, only praying it's not real. The war fortress also takes heavy damage, the situation growing dire. Satyr worries if this keeps up, the fortress will collapse, the lightning's range too vast yet only strikes her. The Oblivion Demon Idol is Satyr's ultimate art, its thunder spares only those truly devoted. Each bolt carries origin force, devastatingly powerful, those hit vanish before reacting. Suddenly, Xiao Gai screams that her master was struck head-on, and the queen gasps in terror. Bolts rain ceaselessly upon Yun Shen, targeting him alone. Satyr sneers inwardly, his using the idol's attack to absorb origin for himself, cunning fool. Yun Shen laughs, realizing only through his body can he fully feel its might. As the lightning nears, he comprehends the fierce blazing origin force. Flames of origin erupt, he gathers them into a powerful counterstrike. Aiming skyward, he roars, shattering the storm. Lightning dissolves entirely. At once, Yun Shen ascends to true demon lord power, striding forward for a fair duel. Meanwhile, Shi Shaji unleashes her ultimate move, turning into a giant stone titan that dominates the field. Yun Shen's mobile fortress suffers critical damage, threatening to spiral out of control. Amid dim light, Yun Shen fully masters the blazing origin, his strength far beyond the old flame power. The Elf Queen dodges bolts while scolding him for recklessness, injured yet still pushing forward. Yun Shen frowns, calculating the priority is destroying the massive idol. The Elf Queen's eyes turn cold as she analyzes the idol is immense and powerful but has one fatal flaw. Its transformation makes it sluggish. Every movement, even lifting an arm, takes seconds. Strong defense, not invincible. Yun Shen nods, eyes gleaming, has made up his mind, just a giant target to be crushed. He orders Xiaoyu, Xiaolang, and the war fortress to fire all weapons at the idol. Inside, Xiaoyu and Xiaolang rush to deploy their units per command. Mechanical sounds roar, 380 destruction cannons, 1400 rapid flame bombards, 5600 sonic blasters power up. Every cannon overloaded, firing in unison at full strength. The fortress shakes as radiant beams surge toward the idol, ready to obliterate it. Simultaneously, Yun Shen channels blazing origin, invoking heaven-slicing flame, fire roaring to consume the sky. The Elf Queen shines bright, unleashing shadow origin arrows, her dark light flooding the battlefield. All the mighty's forces strike together, focusing every blow on Shi Shaji's colossal idol. The massive idol can evade, taking the full brunt of both assaults. Cracks spread across its stone body, shards tumbling down the battlefield. At last, the idol can't withstand the immense power. Shi Shaji's spirit bursts free, eyes blazing with shock and fury. She panics inwardly, how could my idol be destroyed already? Seizing the chance, Yun Shen and the Elf Queen rush in, blades slashing at Shi Shaji. But she blocks both strikes with ease, sneering at their naive mastery of origin power. Mocking, she jeers, just you two dare dream of cutting me. Laughable. Suddenly, a massive thorn vine coils around her, shattering her defense. From behind, Xiao Gai yanks hard with all her strength. Don't forget me, she shouts. The vine tightens, toppling Shi Shaji helplessly to the ground. Instantly, Yun Shen and the Elf Queen strike from behind, blades glowing as they hit true. A scream of agony, Shi Shaji takes both origin blows, unable to resist. Blood splatters as she howls in pain. Her body crashes down miserably, utterly defeated. From the war fortress, Xiaoyu and Xiaolang cheer, they've finally wounded her for real. Though grievously hurt, Shi Shaji leaps up, roaring in rage, blaming Xiao Gai for her humiliation. Yun Shen and the Elf Queen don't hesitate, they charge again, shouting to keep the pressure on. In the fierce duel, Shi Shaji fights both, but the tide quickly favors Yun Shen. The Elf Queen lands a deadly stab, her sword piercing through Shi Shaji's body, shocking her. Shi Shaji freezes, despair flashing in her eyes, she hadn't foreseen such danger. 3 seconds later, she lunges at Yun Shen, shouting orders to her Night Legion. Yun Shen raises his guard, analyzing this reckless strike, targets one side. If he blocks it, the queen can counter. Yet the blow feels oddly weak, he realizes her true target is elsewhere. Indeed, Shi Shaji darts past him, lunging straight for Xiao Gai. The defenses around Xiao Gai shatter instantly, leaving her exposed. On gloating, Shi Shaji laughs, killing this little sprout will be too easy.